Realtor. Morning, Clark. Ambient. Yo. And good morning, EB. Ooh. No, Clark was ready. Oh. That was quite a top of the fifth. They worked really hard. And they didn't give him 4 outs. They didn't give him 5 outs.
Right.
They gave him 6.
6. Because 4 wouldn't have been enough.
Neither would 5.
Right.
No. I know, Max. So was I. I'm guessing, EB, that's the last you'll ever hear of John Sterling.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this final day of October. Happy Halloween! How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Hope your week's going well. Do you have any plans today, either to get dressed up or what is your candy of choice that you're giving out? And is anyone giving out something other than candy? Curious about that. 21,000 on the text line, Twitch chat room. Anything else besides candy?
All the dentists out there, you giving out toothbrushes? You that guy?
You know, that's all. Just anybody giving out apples, you know.
I don't think you can do that anymore.
No?
I really don't. I
mean, is it like, did local police show up? I mean, are you allowed to complain? I mean,
I've been trick-or-treating with my daughter now for several years. I've not seen an apple since I was trick-or-treating in the 80s. So I just don't see that as a viable trick-or-treat present.
Do any of the children trick-or-treat while also trying to raise money for a cause? I remember a couple of years growing up that I would trick-or-treat and I would also have the little UNICEF box.
I remember you talking about this, and that was not a thing where I lived.
And I don't know if it's a thing anywhere else, but yes, I do remember for 2 or 3 years, mostly grade school, all right, that they sent us, hey, and go raise money for UNICEF. And so, if people, a penny, a nickel, what have you, throw it in the little thing. And then, we'd come in the next day and we'd all hand in our little, boxes of UNICEF. Here you go.
That's really nice. I mean, it is. When you're supposed to be thinking about yourself to do something else, that's a very selfless act. I think that's wonderful, but I never did it.
Well, the problem, though, was that occasionally you would get the house in which they would give you a donation for UNICEF, but then wouldn't give you anything else. And you're left there like, that's great and all. I mean, you know, a quarter, 50 cents. That's a nice. There's no candy bars in there? No? Nothing? A little something for the effort? No? Huh. How about this? Instead of, is anybody giving out anything other than candy? How about, is anybody giving out anything other than chocolate?
Oh, there'll be a lot of that. The kids these days, David, aren't as into chocolate as they are into the Sour Patch this and the sour that.
Right.
They seem to like those type of candies more than they like chocolates.
The sweet tarts. Remember those?
Loved me a sweet tart.
Did you really?
Oh, I'm fat. What candy didn't I like?
Well, I was fatter than you.
I liked the Smarties. You get those, you know, the rolled up, basically the 10 sweet tarts in one packet.
Right.
Knock those things down right and left.
You know, you had the soft candy, then you had the hard candy. You know, you had the stuff that wouldn't necessarily melt right away when you put it in your mouth. You're like, ooh. Then you'd bite that and you'd have to go to the dentist. So that's all. Just kind of curious how the day is going to go. Those of you who do not take us in on Twitch, today might be a day just so that, especially if you're of a certain age, Mark Miller dressed as Ken Howard.
There you go.
That's who you're going as for Halloween. See how many people recognize it. Don't tell anyone. Just wait until somebody goes, White Shadow. Just see how long it takes for somebody to go, White Shadow. Nice.
Hey, Salami. Show only lasted like 2 or 3 seasons.
I know.
It might only be 2.
It was no more than 3. I know that. They tackled just about every issue you could tackle. Drugs, teen pregnancy. I mean, the whole deal.
Quitting school to go to work. I mean, they had a lot of, they were on it, David.
I loved the name of the kids. Like you said, one was Salami, one was Coolidge. You know, I think one was Washington. You know, I love the names that they came up with for the guys on the team. There was only like 7 guys on the team. That's it. They didn't even bother to, like 6 or 7 guys. That's it. They didn't even bother to have 2 or 3 extras who never said anything. Nope. It was just that all they had was the 6 or 7 kids. That was Ken Howard.
And every ethnicity on the team.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Checked all the bases.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And this was in the 70s.
Right. I think the show was like 78 to 80 or something like that. Yeah. So if you're a little younger than us, look it up, The White Shadow. I think, didn't we try to, Felipe, the big hoop head? We're like, Felipe, you would have loved The White Shadow. I mean, loved it. Go find it. You will love it. You will watch it religiously. However many episodes they had. If it was 2 years, they probably had like 40 episodes. You'd watch them all. So happy Halloween, everybody. And
where I can watch The White Shadow now.
I
might watch an episode today.
You might watch it during the show, though. That's the only thing. I'm hoping that you wait until after the show before you go trick-or-treating. You know, we did not purchase any candy. And I have not heard my wife talk about running out today and purchasing some candy. I don't believe we have
buying vegetables, because I know she's often called chocolate vegetables. So
right. Well, it's because she eats so much chocolate that she's trying to convince herself she's eating healthy. But now I could see why, though, because we live in a condo development that is not a senior living development. It's not a 55 plus development. Okay. It's just largely turned into one.
Which condo complex in Florida hasn't?
And so, like the other day, somebody asked me about, do you have any kids in your neighborhood? I think it was you. And I said, well, the guy next door is like 34. I think Ben qualifies as like the kid of the development. So I don't know, but we've got, this would be an area to hit, if you know what I mean. Like if I grew up here, I'd hit this because once I get through the gate, I mean, it's, hundreds. I don't have to hit any other neighborhood than this one, if you know what I mean. See,
a lot of doors in close proximity to one another.
Absolutely. And, as a kid, that's what you're trying to do. Like I lived in an apartment complex. I didn't leave the complex. The complex was huge. It was over 40 buildings. There were 10 or 12 apartments in each building. No need to literally go out on the street. I would just hit my apartment complex every year for Halloween. I mean, think about it.
Oh, no. I just did. That's
yeah,
using your resources well.
Totally. Meanwhile, all my friends lived in houses. They're walking through their neighborhood. They got to go house to house. Not me, man.
You get 4 doors in the time that they're getting 1.
Totally. I mean, literally 4 per floor. 2 in the basement and then 4 and 4. It was basically 10. Some buildings were bigger. They had 4 in the basement as well. And so, yeah, I mean, you got on the floor, you knocked on all 4 doors at the same time. You stood in the middle. It was kind of like waiting for an elevator. You pressed the button, you turned around, you just waited for the first one to open. That was great.
Never really thought about that. I was a neighbor, had a house, did the neighborhood. Had a horseshoe neighborhood, would do the whole, get East and West Gloucester, David. It was, it was
right.
Both sides. Even Bray Street, I believe, was in the middle.
So just curious if there are is Halloween a part of your life today? And if so, in what way? 21,000 on the text line, Twitch chat room. And DC kind enough to remind me that I did say it at the beginning of the playoffs, if not before the playoffs. Dodgers can't win the World Series. Not with their starting pitching and injuries. No way. Come on now. I mean, 2 starters, 2.5 starters. You can't win a World Series with that little pitching. Come on. And they faced elimination. Padres had them backed up. And that seems like an awfully long time ago. Baseball season's over. Congratulations to the Dodgers. 2nd title in 5 years. First one in a 162-game season since 1988.
What a choke job in the 5th by the Yanks.
Woo-wee.
What a choke job. There's no other word to use, David. That was, got a text from a buddy, says this looks like a Little League baseball team out there. That's a disservice to the Little League baseball that I've watched over the years. They don't make those type of errors. Toms River, New Jersey plays better in the field than the Yankees did in the 5th.
They certainly don't commit not 1, not 2, but 3 errors all in the same half inning. For goodness sakes. Have to admit, felt a little badly for Judge. I did. He was starting to rewrite the narrative. He homered, made a great catch on Freeman, took away an extra base hit and an RBI. His only error of the year was last night.
On a routine pop-up. A routine fly, rather. It wasn't really a pop-up.
Soft liner hit right at him. Took his eye off it and dropped it. Unbelievable. And that was the beginning.
Bad play at third, or bad play from short to third, not picking up the ball.
Well, terrible throw. My goodness, a force at third. All he had to do was just,
throw it to him.
Yeah. I mean, Major League shortstop couldn't throw the ball 40 feet. And then you got it. No, you got it. No, you cover first. No. Unreal. The Dodgers like, well, listen, I mean, you gave us 4 outs. We didn't take advantage of it. You gave us 5 outs. We didn't take advantage of it. But if you're going to give us 6, okay. All right. We get the hint. You guys don't want to win the World Series. Got it.
We'll take it from here. And yet the Yankees go back and take the lead. Only a couple sac flies by the Dodgers. 7-6 your final.
And that's it. Baseball season's over. And technically, free agency begins today. Kinda. We'll explain later in the show. We have a heck of a show lined up, by the way. Matt Baker now works for The Athletic to talk college football. Roy Cummings to talk Bucs. Dr. Roto to answer your fantasy questions. JP Shadrick to talk about the Jags. It's all coming up, the Halloween edition of Miller and Moulton.
We started our show 18 years ago and have been fired 3 times. But Miller and Moulton have never lived on the edge like we are now. We have our best morning ratings ever and are steadily adding affiliates. Yet, we only have a few sponsors, and if that doesn't change, we cannot continue. But if you want to advertise on Miller and Moulton, reach out to one of us directly by texting sponsor to 21,000 or by contacting me on X at @MarkMiller or David at @TheDavidMoulton. You can save Miller and Moulton and make your business some serious money by texting 21,000 now.
Gentlemen, as your wife mentioned getting new flooring, but you don't want to go through the hassle, well, go see the Floor Meisters in Naples next to Costco. They understand your time and money are important, so they'll make it as painless as possible. With a huge in-stock selection of carpet and Core-Tech, they can get you the floor your wife's been asking for. They carry wood, vinyl, carpet, and tile. If you do it yourself, no problem. They can handle that as well. So go see TJ at the Floor Meisters and tell them, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When you enter the Diamond District, you will quickly discover what makes Jason and Todd so unique to Southwest Florida. Within the walls of the Diamond District, you'll find many of America's top jewelry designers who have chosen the Diamond District as their authorized representative in Southwest Florida. Takori, Fana, A. Jaffe, Veragio, Christopher Designs, Shy Creations, Henri Dossi, all names synonymous with excellence, and all proudly showcased at the Diamond District. This is Miller and Moulton.
No, Sonny, actually, no, Cole has to get to first. Rizzo has to field the ball. Cole has to race to the bag. Well, Freddie Freeman saved them. Because, listen, otherwise we'd be talking about what a bad series Ohtani had. Oh. Well, also, it's forgotten because, they won. And, well, he got hurt. Okay.
am I going trick-or-treating? Are you crazy? I'm 55 years old. I'm driving my daughter around in the golf cart as she trick-or-treats. I'll have a cooler full of beer.
Right. I still have the weird lizard costume, which I don't know why Joe thought I was a weird lizard. I was a dinosaur.
A weird lizard.
Yep. So they had a double pumpkin shot in the booth this year for
Yes.
and they sent it to me, and I text back. I go, "Oh, so now it's okay to celebrate Halloween, not the last 2 years when I got in costume." Yes, he was, Mac. He only had like 3 hits total coming into the World Series between the Padres and Mets series. Didn't play half the Mets series. Oh. Well, the reason he stayed back, though, was the spin on the ball. He started to charge it in the spin, and so he made sure he fielded it cleanly. I mean, Cole's got to cover the bag. Come on, guys. You can't blame Rizzo. He fielded the ball. It's what the first baseman's supposed to do.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton broadcasting live from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeister's in Naples, just keeping it real. Thanks for being with us. Matt Baker to talk all things college football and college sports, including the recent tragedy at South Florida. Matt Baker, who's written about that eloquently a couple of times here in the last few days, he will join us now working for The Athletic. Matt Baker in a little more than an hour. Dr. Roto in a little more than 2 hours to answer your fantasy football questions. So get prepared. Don't send them to us, but just start thinking about what it is you want to ask the doctor as he makes his weekly house call. You know, Mark, baseball's a funny sport. It just seems as if, the ball finds you, things that don't happen all year. And then in these, historic moments, they happen for the first time all year, or sometimes the only time in a person's career. I mean, Judge's only error of the season is in the 5th inning last night. And they get away with it if not for 2 other errors, if you know what I mean.
No, you're right. I mean, you make the play at third, you squash the inning because Cole ended up striking out a couple of batters. Cole makes the play at first at the end, they get out of the inning.
Right. I mean, if Volpe gets the force out at third, okay, then, first and third, and when Cole strikes out the next 2 guys, he gets out of it. There's not even Betts doesn't hit the squibber to Rizzo, or if he does, he hits it leading off the 6th inning. And, it's just funny how things work out. One of the developing stories during our show yesterday, though, was, if you remember, the fan interference in Game 4. And during our show, one of the national reporters, I think it was Jesse Rogers, he caught up with the 2 guys, the fans, and they told him, yeah, we've got tickets for Game 5, and the Yankees have said, yeah, we can come back. I mean, we got thrown out last night, but, we can come back. And they're like, and that's good because we paid a decent buck for him. Well, once that got made public, Manfred called the Yankees and said, no. They ain't going to the game. Got it? You do what you got to do. And my understanding is the Yankees ended up, and I don't know if they bought the tickets back from the guys or if the guys ended up taking it on the chin. I think the Yankees bought the tickets back from the two guys at face value, and then the Yankees gave it to two cancer patients.
Good move by the Yanks. If they shouldn't have allowed them ever in the ballpark in the first place.
Right.
But nice gesture to give the tickets away to someone who would really want them. I think that's terrific.
Right. I mean, Major League Baseball forced their hand.
Right.
But, once their hand was forced, they, quote unquote, did the right thing, which is okay because then those two guys did a bunch of national interviews. And I think, Barstool found them. And, so they're going to have their own podcast here, I think, by Friday.
And sell it by Monday.
Right. Exactly. They'll get national sponsors.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So
it's not just a glove company.
Right. So baseball season's over. And for some of you, it never even began. We get it. We understand. But Dodgers in 5, Yankees World Series drought. It's now been 15 full seasons since they've won a World Series. What are they going to do?
What a drought.
What?
How can they handle it?
Just, we'll say, and you can back me up on this. If you ever hear a George Steinbrenner story, don't laugh. Steinbrenner would fire somebody after last night.
Darn right he would.
He would not have taken losing the World Series and losing it the way he did. Okay, somebody loses their job, all right, and or gets traded after last night if George Steinbrenner were still alive and on the team.
And now 25 times a team has taken a 3-0 lead in a series. We've never had a game 6.
Nope.
We've only had a game 5 4 times.
Remarkable.
It really is. Did get a couple of texts, David. And one, I don't know if you caught on the Twitch text line or the Twitch chat room there of what they're giving away. I've got someone giving away Oreo cookies and Chips Ahoy tonight as opposed to candy.
Okay.
And then someone said they're giving away pretzels, bags of pretzels.
Really?
That's
I don't think that makes the cut.
That's lame. Sorry.
Yeah.
You have to do better than that.
Yeah, that's. I don't think that's going to be appreciated. Obviously you're wanting it to be a slightly healthier choice. I don't know. Halloween's not about health.
And this person says the kid I once received a Reader's Digest book. I think the old lady ran out of candy and coins.
Speaking of running out of candy, did you see the video that Brett Favre released the other day?
I did not.
He released video of when he was with the Packers, and it was probably mid-90s. I don't know if they had won a Super Bowl yet, but they was right around that time, 95, 96, 97. And he went trick-or-treating, and they went to Mike Holmgren's house. And it was he and a couple of teammates, and they all switched jerseys and had masks on. And they show up at Holmgren's house, and like Don Beebe is wearing Favre's jersey, Favre is wearing Beebe's jersey, and a couple of other players switched, and they all have masks on. And so they knock on Holmgren's door, and Holmgren answers it because, it's Green Bay. They're all nice and neighborly. And Holmgren apologizes because it was at night. And he goes, guys, we literally just ran out of candy. And they're like, oh, come on, man. You got to have something. I mean, come on. You got to have something in there, coach. All right. But, they disguise their voices a little bit. And Holmgren, no idea. No idea. No idea he's talking to 4 of his teammates.
4 men
Yep,
are
men.
standing across from him, and he thinks that they're trick. There's got to be an age limit on trick or treating here.
And finally, about a minute and 20 seconds, they got Holmgren going for. And Mike's, trying to say, sorry, guys, and he's trying to close the door, and the guys just aren't leaving. And finally, I think it was Favre who pulled off his mask. And you could see Holmgren like, son of a.
I like it.
Yep.
I like it.
So I have no idea if they went to other people's houses or not, if they literally just did that prank just for the coach.
I hope it was just one stop at the coach's house.
I hope so too. And if I'm remembering the video, I don't know if they had a kid with them. Maybe they brought one kid as a prop, but seriously, it was basically just to pull a prank on Holmgren.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Absolutely.
Miller and Moulton. It was a good sports day yesterday. A lot went on, besides baseball, 55 consecutive days of football. So we had football last night of the college variety. Plenty of NFL news, some big college football news, which we'll get into in detail. We knew it was coming. We guessed that this would be the announcement, but once they made it, what's your reaction to it? We'll talk about that. Full night in the NBA and the NHL. And some interesting college basketball news as well.
On a Halloween version of Miller and Moulton, 21,000 is the text line. Curious if you're giving away something other than candy tonight. What it is, we'll be the judge and jury on whether or not it's allowed. Pretzels right on the line.
I mean, it's allowed, but I just don't think you're going to get good grades. If you do a kid survey, you're going to fail. Gentlemen, as your wife mentioned getting new flooring, but you don't want to go through the hassle, well, go see the Floor Meisters in Naples next to Costco. They understand your time and money are important and will make it as painless as possible. With a huge in-stock selection of carpet and Cortec, they can get you the floor your wife's been asking for. They carry wood, vinyl, carpet, and tile. If you do it yourself, no problem. They can handle that as well. So go see TJ at the Floor Meisters and tell them, just keeping it real.
Is snoring bothering your spouse? Would you like to sleep in the same bed again? Do you know that snoring can affect your sleep cycle and cause lower testosterone levels? At Sleep Treatment Direct, we have easy solutions. We have a simple laser procedure that can improve snoring in 10 minutes. If you would like to get back in the same bed or are looking for a natural way to treat low testosterone, give us a call at 239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Or go to sleeptreatmentdirect.com. That's sleeptreatmentdirect.com. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. The Cape Coral Police Department is growing. They are currently looking for police officers and are offering a $10,000 signing bonus to newly hired officers. If you desire a career in law enforcement, or if you are already in law enforcement and thinking about making a move to a better agency, think Cape Coral Police Department. If you're looking for a police department that is committed to excellence, that invests in the highest level of training, state-of-the-art equipment, and some of the highest compensation in all of Southwest Florida, then the Cape Coral Police Department is for you. Visit capecops.com. That's capecops.com. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Wes, I can see where bubbles for the kid would be a bit. My daughter would have loved bubbles a lot of years, more than candy.
Whew.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes before the hour. Matt Baker of The Athletic will join us coming up 1 hour from now. A lot to get to from last night in the world of sports, so we'll get to it. Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
Dodgers defeat the Yankees 7-6. They win the World Series in 5. It certainly seemed as if that was not going to happen last night. Dodgers led 5-0 in the 5th. Or excuse me, the Yankees led 5-0 in the 5th. Dodgers hadn't had a hit. And then the Yankees made 3 errors, all in the 5th inning. 2 of them actual errors you can put on the scoreboard. 1 a mental error of not covering first. And the Dodgers eventually made them pay. Scored 5 runs to get back in the game. 2 sac flies in the 8th inning were the difference. Dodgers 7, Yankees 6. Freddie Freeman, of course, he was your MVP. He hit 300 in the series, 6 for 20, 4 homers, 12 RBIs. Homering in 4 games. And the 12 RBIs ties an all-time World Series record. And that was done in a 7-game series. Obviously, Freeman doing it in 5. Dodgers bullpen came up huge. 7 2/3 innings. Did you like what Dave Roberts was doing at the end? Trinan is closer. He brings in with 2 outs in the 6th. He had already used his number one setup guy to get through the 3rd inning. And Trinan, who threw around 20 pitches to get 4 outs, he sends them back out there for the 8th to protect a 7-6 lead. And Trinan on fumes throws 23 more pitches in the 8th, gets Rizzo on a nasty slider to get out of the inning. 42 pitches, 2 1/3 innings from his closer, and then turns the game in the World Series over to his Game 3 starter, Walker Buehler, who's missed most of the last 3 years with injuries.
Buehler texted Roberts that he was ready to go, told him in the middle of the game, I'm going to the bullpen, I'm ready when you need me. And then basically after the game said he lied and wasn't really ready to go. But the curveball was working. But to bring in your closer there and to go that long, David, it shows they didn't have a lot of bullpen left, 1. And 2, that's a lot of guts out of Trinan there. That was spectacular.
Well, and especially since the Yankees had hit him pretty hard in games 1 and 2. Remember, they scored a run against him in the 10th in game 1. He's going to take the loss if Freeman doesn't hit the slam. And remember, he's the one who had to be bailed out. 4-1 lead in the 9th in game 2. He gave up a run and runners on 2nd and 3rd, and they had to bring the lefty in to get the final out when he threw like 35 pitches and only got 2 outs. So Trinan wasn't used the last 2 nights. So he goes to him, stays with him, rolls the dice, faces the heart of the order in the 8th, gets through it, and then Walker Buehler, a 1-2-3 9th, striking out Verdugo to win the World Series. Dodgers in 5. Technically, free agency begins today, but it only begins with the team that you're potentially leaving. The first 5 days of free agency, your old club, if you will, is the only one you can negotiate with. And I'm sure all the players and all the agents are abiding by that rule. I'm sure that none of them have talked or are going to talk to any of the other 29 clubs before 5 o'clock on Monday, when free agency begins for everyone else. White Sox apparently are going to name a new manager today or tomorrow. Will Venable, who had been Bruce Bochy's right-hand guy the last 2 years in Texas, he's going to take over the 121-loss White Sox. Don't you have to insist on a 5 or 6 year contract if you're taking that job?
100%. 100%, because based on everything that we know, their farm system's in shambles.
Right.
I mean, this is not a quick and easy turnaround. They probably lose 100 games this year, no matter who their manager is, regardless. So
and likely a losing season in 26. I mean, I think if the organization makes a lot of right moves, maybe in 2027 they can get their heads above water.
Maybe.
Right. College football news. Well, listen, when they announced that they were going to revamp the stadium in Jacksonville, then, you know, besides the Jags having to figure out where they were going to play, I mean, you know, they got that game every year, late October, early November, you know, Florida, Georgia, cocktail party. So where's that game going to go? They're not going to play that in 2026 when only half the stadium's available for seating. And then 2027, the stadium's not available at all. So they made it official yesterday. 2026, the game's going to Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. 2027, it's going to Ray J. It's going to Tampa. I'm a little surprised it wasn't Orlando. About 12,000 more seats in Orlando. So I just thought they'd go for the money. So I guess this is probably our last chance to ever have this game on campus, right? It just went by the boards?
Yes. Yeah, this is in Jacksonville forever following this. They expect to sign a multi-year deal to keep it in Jacksonville. I'm fired up for it being in Tampa.
Are you?
Yeah.
I wanted it on campus.
I did too, but I'm going to, I want to go to the cocktail party in Tampa. It's a short drive,
Right.
fun game.
Okay.
Tampa will do it right.
And, a few people in throughout Georgia who maybe will have a chance to go to the game in Atlanta, in which otherwise they don't normally go. So college football last night, Liberty lost their second in a row. We didn't know they'd schedule teams good enough to beat them twice in a row.
They didn't.
Jacksonville State got 232 yards rushing from Trey Stewart and 4 touchdowns and beat them 31-21. Western Kentucky's bowl eligible for the 6th straight year. They won their 6th game of the year, beating Kennesaw State 31-14. College football tonight on the 4-letter network. Tulane, a 14.5-point favorite at Charlotte. Tulane's in the AAC. There are 3 unbeaten teams in the AAC: Army, Navy, and Tulane. So pay attention. Tulane plays Navy. Tulane and Army do not play. And Army and Navy play too late. So Tulane is probably the team that could end up breaking up whether Army and Navy are playing twice back-to-back at the end of the year. 14.5-point favorites tonight against Charlotte. NFL news, Derek Carr, he's missed 3 games. The Saints have lost all 3, although they lost the 3 before that with Carr. They've lost 6 in a row. He'll be back quarterbacking the Saints against Carolina. Nice team to come back against. And they're turning back to Bryce Young. Andy Dalton's thumb injury from the car accident is not healed enough, so they'll go a second straight start with Bryce Young. NBA news. Thursday Night Football tonight. Texans and Jets. Jets amazingly a 2-point favorite, despite having lost 5 in a row. Over-under on the game's 42.5. So Vegas is basically saying 22-20 Jets. Place your bets accordingly. Houston down, Diggs out for the year with the injury, and their number 2 wideout has a hamstring. He's going to miss the game. So C.J. Stroud doesn't have his normal complement. Wouldn't you have to, if you're going to play somebody on the Texans tonight, have to play Joe Mixon?
Yeah, I mean, Collins is out, so Tank Dell's the other receiver. You'd play him as well. I mean, someone's got to get the ball when they throw it. But you got to think that the Jets defense can shut down one receiver.
Yeah, but then again, the Jets can't stop the run. I would think a heavy dose of Mixon and the running game tonight for the Texans might keep the game under, for whatever that's worth. NBA, so the Knicks, through 3 games, had really struggled to fit in Karl Anthony Towns. He was a new toy. They didn't know what to do with it. Well, you know what they did with it? They gave him the damn ball, and he scored 45 points. Knicks beat the Heat 116-107, despite 34 from Tyler Hero. Orlando, they blew a big first-half lead. I think they led by 20 at one point. They scored just 12 points in the fourth quarter, lost at Chicago 102-99. Paulo with 31 in the loss.
You know, we made a comment, sign of a good team is being favored by 5.5 on the road. No, the sign of a good team is being favored by 5.5 on the road and then winning on the road.
By 6 or more, yes.
Right.
And until their 12-point fourth quarter mark, they were well on their way.
They were.
Cleveland improved to 5-0. They beat the Lakers 134-110. Bronny played 5 minutes and scored a bucket.
Now send them to the G League.
Pacers handed the Celtics their first loss of the year in overtime, 135-132. Wizards swept the home and home from the Hawks. Ouch. 133-120. How about Golden State beating the Pelicans on back-to-back days without Steph Curry and Andrew Wiggins? That's not a good sign for the Pelicans. Warriors by 15, 104-89. Oklahoma City's 4-0. They beat the Spurs by 12. Charlotte got 72 points from their bench in a 5-point win over Toronto. How about the Pistons picking up their first win of the year in Philly? You know, you might want to get Paul George and Embiid back in the lineup. 105-95 Detroit. Brooklyn beat Memphis by 13, and Portland edged the Clippers 106-105. Half dozen games in the NHL. Kucherov with a goal and 2 helpers. Did you see the 1 assist to Getzel? One of his 2 goals. Kucherov takes it literally end to end. It's as if he was on a power play. He goes through the entire Avs team. He is going behind the net, feeds it between his legs to Getzel at the side of the net. Boom, and he just taps it in. Unbelievable. Getzel with 2 goals, 5-2 Lightning over the Avs. Winnipeg scored 3 in the first, 3 in the third to beat your Wings, Mark, 6-2. New Jersey got a shutout from Markstrom, 6-0 over Vancouver. Hell of a fight in that game, by the way, if you want to look it up. Hell of a fight. As good a hockey fight as you'll see. Columbus 2-0 over the Islanders. The Hockey Club snapped the 4-game skid. Utah 5-1 over Calgary. And the Kings doubled up Vegas 6-3. South Florida, the kids voted to play their exhibition basketball game last night in the wake of Amir Abdul-Rahim's death. They beat a D2 school out of Jacksonville named Edward Waters, 94-51. South Florida begins their season with a lot of other schools. Monday, they'll play the Gators in Jacksonville. And Cooper Flagg is playing for Duke this year. You know, number 1 recruit in the country. Well, he reclassified. He actually is supposed to be playing his senior year of high school this year, and he has a twin brother. The twin brother did not reclassify. He's apparently not as good, but he's a 3-star recruit who's going to spend his senior year of high school at some basketball academy in Greensboro, North Carolina. His name is Ace Flagg. But he committed yesterday to stay at home for college and go to Maine.
That's what you wanted Cooper Flagg to do.
I did. Maine's never been to the tournament. You know, take down Vermont, UMBC, and win the America East. You want to be a legend, okay? I mean, what are you going to do in your 1 year at Duke that could outrank taking Maine to the dance? I'm being serious. How good of a year does he have to have at Duke? Does he have to have a Carmelo year? His 1 year at Syracuse cut down the nets? I mean, what would he have to do at Duke this year that would surpass if he stayed home and carried a university who's never been to the tournament to the tournament?
I think you're right. I mean, certainly a Final Four, but it might be cutting down the nets, David.
So Ace Flagg in a year from now is going to Maine. Cooper this year, next week. I think actually he begins his career. I think Duke is hosting Maine to open up the season next week. And it's 7 minutes before the hour mark. That was the starting 5. 5 big stories you need to know here on Miller and Moulton.
David, when we come back, I have been informed of a new scam placed on men by women that is ruining yet another day.
Huh.
I'll explain on the other side. Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening.
We started our show 18 years ago and have been fired 3 times, but Miller and Moulton have never lived on the edge like we are now. We have our best morning ratings ever, are steadily adding affiliates, yet we only have a few sponsors. And if that doesn't change, we can't continue. But if you want to advertise on Miller and Moulton, reach out to one of us directly by texting sponsor to 21,000 or contact Mark on X at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton. You can save Miller and Moulton and make your business some serious money by texting 21,000 now.
At Physical Therapy and Balance Centers, our goal is to help you love your life. When your life is sidelined by an injury, dizziness, surgery, or condition keeping you from doing what you love, we're here to help you heal and feel your best. Our therapist evaluation will determine the root cause of your health challenges, resulting in a unique treatment plan customized just for you. Visit www.physical.com to find your nearest location and see how we can help you love your life.
The world-famous cigar bar started as a neighborhood place in downtown Fort Myers, and now it's a brand, a destination, with 4 locations. The original place, Henry Street, Fort Myers, Gulf Coast Town Center, on Southeast 47th Terrace off the Cape Coral Parkway, and the Lounge on West 1st Street in Fort Myers. A place to go, whether you just need a relaxing drink and a smoke after a tough day at work, or a place to go celebrate. From relaxation to celebration, the world-famous Cigar Bar.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So Cooper is playing at Duke. His twin brother stayed in high school. They're twins. So Cooper moved up a year. He reclassified. Ace stayed in high school, although he decided to go to more of a basketball factory in Greensboro for his senior year of high school to develop better as a player. But he'll return to Maine to play college ball, while Cooper will go to the NBA. Oh. Maine has never appeared 78 seasons. They've never played a postseason game. No NIT, no NCAA. Sixth longest drought in the sport. 78 seasons. FGCU did a home and home with Army one time. I did both games. Loved doing the game at West Point. Oh, loved it. Was a thrill.
I got to meet that AD. I got to figure out a way to do a softball game for FGCU. I got to get paid to do one softball game. I don't care if it's $100. I got to get paid to do a softball game.
I'll reach out to Deros for you. He could make that happen. Although $100, Mark, you might have to work 2 or 3 games.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Thursday, the final day of October. That makes it Halloween. Trick or treat. Happy Halloween. Is Halloween part of your life today? Are you going trick or treating, even if you're riding the golf cart like Mark and his wife behind their 10-year-old daughter? Okay, with maybe a beverage or 2 attached to the cart to make, the trick-or-treating go a little better for them. What kind of candy are you giving away? Are you giving away something that's not chocolate today? These are the burning questions on this day, Mark.
Well, David, I have one more. I was informed of a new Halloween thing. I don't want to call it a tradition because I'm against every part of this.
Okay, so it's just a thing?
Well, it may be a tradition happening, but it isn't to me. And I want to know, men, if you are stuck doing this. I was talking to my son yesterday. He's 25 years old. He has a pretty serious girlfriend. And I'm very happy for him. They get along great, all that stuff, whatever. But the girlfriend's roommate informed my son of a gift that he's supposed to get her for Halloween.
What?
It is called a boo basket.
What?
Yeah, a boo basket, David, in which I'm talking to my son yesterday. We had kind of missed each other on the phone, and I called him, and he was done with work, and he was at Target. And I'm like, what do you get? I just got to get some stuff for the house. And that's not my son. We share most everything with one another. We have a tremendous relationship. And so he's walking through Target and he's on the phone. And I said, wait a minute, what are you getting? And he says, a boo basket. I said, a what? What the hell is a boo basket? And he informed me that his girlfriend's roommate let him in on this little thing, and that his TikTok feed has been overwhelmed with boo baskets, where you go out and you get Halloween treats, presents for your significant other.
Wait.
And let me just explain. Hold on just one second. Halloween, when you're in your 20s, is for one thing. For girls to wear promiscuous outfits. They can be a sexy nurse. They can be a sexy cat. They can be a sexy whatever. There's no presents required for Halloween. What the hell have we come to when you have to get your significant other a boo basket? And is there anybody out there getting their significant other a boo basket for Halloween?
Well, what kind of gift, though, is suitable for Halloween? I mean, I could understand, I don't know, if you actually went out and got, some nice chocolates and you brought them over and said, listen,
That's Valentine's Day.
Well, but I don't know.
No. I'm with you. He bought some chocolates. He
Okay.
got. I don't know. I will tell you this. He wasn't admitting to me everything he got. He went and had a picture made. They were just at a concert, so they had a selfie. He went and got a picture in a frame and put that little picture in there of the two of them. He bought some candy and he bought some other, Bed Bath and Beyond type items. My guess.
What?
Yeah.
That's who created this? The Hallmark Channel? I mean, I don't even remember seeing it there. This is
I've
the
never
first I'm hearing
heard of
this.
this.
Right. A boo basket.
A boo basket. I want to find out. You have to do a little R&D for me today and talk to your daughter and see if she is expecting a boo basket
What,
from her
husband?
significant other.
Well, here's the other thing. At what point do you have to stop buying the boo basket? I mean, is that something you only have to do while you're dating? Okay, if you take it to the next level, if you put a ring on it, do you then get out of the boo basket? Or now do you have to buy a better boo basket?
Right. Now, I am now wondering if today, after the show, I need to be running around getting a boo basket for my wife.
In our Twitch chat room, Ryro says my husband and I did them for each other.
Oh.
Wait, so you gave a boo basket too, Ryro? You do them for each other. How about you just go out trick-or-treating together? You flirt. Okay? Maybe you kiss occasionally. You check out the woman in her slinky outfit, and then you're dressed up as whatever. Or maybe you're not wearing a slinky outfit. I don't know. But how about, you guys go as a tandem. Sonny and Cher, Hall and Oates. I don't know.
Peaches and Herb.
Right.
Texture. It's candy, a fall candle, cozy socks, maybe a favorite book. Things like that.
A favorite book?
I was disgusted over the idea of a boo basket.
Johnny Fingerlake says a boo basket is a Halloween-themed gift basket that can be given to children or left anonymously for neighbors and friends to find. What the heck?
Another texture, boo baskets. Wife did them for the kids. Ridiculous. Yes.
Wait, hold on. The kids get gifts to go trick-or-treating? Isn't the candy the gift?
That's right.
Isn't the getting dressed up and able to go out and have fun? Isn't that the gift?
At least a sane person says, I've been married for 25 years. If I bought my wife a boo basket, she would call that financial malpractice.
If I got my wife a boo basket, she'd think I was having an affair. A boo basket. What the heck?
Texter says, my significant other would give me a boo casket.
That's line of the day right there. You got me, man. You stumped me. It's not often that we can just flat stump each other. I never heard of it.
I hadn't until yesterday, and I was disgusted.
And by the way, this is an indictment of your son. He's fallen hard. Okay, there's no one he's ever met in his first 25 years he would even have considered a boo basket for.
No.
He would have laughed. He would have mocked it. He would have mocked it to their faces.
He would have mocked his friends for getting boo baskets for their significant others.
Right.
And now he's at Target buying boo basket items for his girlfriend.
Wow. He's in trouble.
Oh, I know.
He's in trouble. He's on shaky ground. He's vulnerable.
I know. I'm worried.
I thought I was worried about him when he was at Target buying stuff for the house. Then I found out it was a boo basket. Oh, man.
Texter says, my wife brought it up, so I got her a new air fryer from Costco over the weekend.
I mean, just now, yeah, as Clark in our Twitch chat room. So what do we do now? What's the plan? I mean, now it's Halloween. I mean, this is like Mother's Day, and you forgot to get flowers and what have you. You're running out. You're at the mercy. I mean, no way. I stick to your guns, man.
I gotta hand it to this text because I can read all these words. I want everybody to know these are not my words.
Okay.
These are the texter's words.
Gotcha.
Guys make up holiday reasons to get broads into sexy outfits. Broads will find any reason for gifts.
Well,
double down on the broads. Well done, sir. And thank you for returning to the 70s. That broad. Just want to get her in a sexy outfit. Have a pack of Marlboros.
Actually,
that's in his boo basket. I think he put a carton of smokes in there.
Oh, he did. He walked. In fact, that was part of his costume: jeans, a white T-shirt, and some Lucky Strikes rolled up in his sleeve. I'm verklempt over this. I really am. And going back to the whole women in the slinky outfits, I always found the women, they use this day to dress quasi inappropriately if they wanted to. And of course, the guy would go, oh, okay.
Right. You want to go as a Playboy bunny? Outstanding.
I love that idea. Can I go as Hefner? I mean, you're right. I mean, you just, okay. That's what, you want to go as a stewardess? Okay. At what blocks the Mile High Club? Hello. I mean, okay. What do I have to do here? What's my role? Now my role's a boo basket?
A boo basket. As if you needed to buy gifts to score on Halloween, for crying out loud.
Do you sneak up behind them in the morning by the fridge before they get their coffee and whisper boo in their ear? I mean, what? A boo basket. So candles,
cozy socks, apparently, like a little fall.
Right,
fall. I don't know.
Well, Mark, apparently, in most of the rest of the country, it's fall. I know you're unfamiliar. It's one of our 4 seasons, by the way, fall. Okay, fall. Temperatures get down. You have to wear sweaters. You have to wear pants. You have to wear socks. Okay, it's called fall. You experienced it as a kid. You've forgotten.
I have, and I miss it tremendously. I do love fall. Not so much the boo basket, but I. So, guys out there, apparently you got to do some shopping today. You got to get a boo basket for your significant other.
And I agree with Balducci in our Twitch chat room. Your son may never recover from this. I think you should call him back and go, just so you know, if you give her the boo basket, you're in on everything forever. You have no excuse forever on anything.
You can't miss it. You can't miss a thing.
A thing. That's a lot of pressure. Take a moment, sit down, and write down how many things there now are if you're giving a boo basket. Wow. Miller and Moulton. I'm going to ask my wife during the break if she knows what a boo basket is and threaten to get her one. The world-famous cigar bar started as a neighborhood place in downtown Fort Myers, and now it's a brand, a destination, with 4 locations. The original place, Henry Street, Fort Myers, Gulf Coast Town Center, on Southeast 47th Terrace off the Cape Coral Parkway, and the Lounge on West 1st Street in Fort Myers. A place to go, whether you just need a relaxing drink and a smoke after a tough day at work, or a place to go celebrate. From relaxation to celebration, the world-famous cigar bar. Gentlemen, as your wife mentioned getting new flooring, but you don't want to go through the hassle, well, go see the Floor Meisters in Naples next to Costco. They understand your time and money are important, so they'll make it as painless as possible. With a huge in-stock selection of carpet and Cortec, they can get you the floor your wife's been asking for. They carry wood, vinyl, carpet, and tile. If you do it yourself, no problem. They can handle that as well. So go see TJ at the Floor Meisters and tell them, just keeping it real.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing. They are currently looking for police officers and are offering a $10,000 signing bonus to newly hired officers. If you desire a career in law enforcement, or if you are already in law enforcement and thinking about making a move to a better agency, think Cape Coral Police Department. If you're looking for a police department that is committed to excellence, that invests in the highest level of training, state-of-the-art equipment, and some of the highest compensation in all of Southwest Florida, then the Cape Coral Police Department is for you. Visit capecops.com. That's capecops.com.
At Physical Therapy and Balance Centers, our goal is to help you love your life. When your life is sidelined by an injury, dizziness, surgery, or condition keeping you from doing what you love, we're here to help you heal and feel your best. Our therapist evaluation will determine the root cause of your health challenges, resulting in a unique treatment plan customized just for you. Visit www.physical.com to find your nearest location and see how we can help you love your life.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Mac, that's pretty solid.
Never heard of it, my wife said.
I
said
bet
if I
your
got,
daughter has.
well, I'm texting her now. No, Shimko, I don't even know of which you speak.
Yeah, I didn't either. Literally, Jake's telling me this whole boo basket thing, and I just, when I go, thanks, he went, for what? I go, the segment we're going to get out of this tomorrow.
Totally. Did you just text him and said
Yeah.
we just did it?
I just said, you're getting crushed on the boo basket. That's
Crushed. So this has to be someone in Greenville. There you go, Arch. I'm doing some R&D with my daughter, trying to find out if she's ever heard of it, ever partaken. Yeah, Jim and Alva, I'm totally with you. The boo basket is like leftover candy the next day. Here you go.
Neither, Paul. Greenville, North Carolina.
Hello.
Home of the East Carolina Pirates.
Is he still a baseball season ticket holder?
No, he didn't get them. He buys series that he wants and then just goes because they've got that. They call it the jungle, the outfield, where it's kind of the crazy section.
Right.
He'll just get tickets to that. I have 2 picks already for tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
I never have that. I'm ready. Let's go. Let's get a boo basket.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. Shimko.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Matt Baker covers college sports, mostly football, but college sports for The Athletic. He'll be joining us in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Miller and Moulton coming at you from the Floor Meisters studios. Floor Meisters in Naples, just keeping it real. Dodgers won the World Series last night. Dramatic. They were down 5-0. Yankees made 3 errors. 2 actually you can put up on the scoreboard. 1 a physical error or mental error. They dropped a fly ball. They threw away a ground ball. They didn't cover first on a ground ball. Dodgers got 6 outs in the 5th inning, ended up scoring 5 runs to tie it. And even though the Yankees took a 6-5 lead, Dodgers loaded the bases with nobody out in the 8th, hit a couple sac flies, ball game. 7-6 Dodgers over the Yankees. They win in 5. Their second World Series title in 5 years. Yankees drought is now 15 years and counting. And now the Juan Soto sweepstakes are underway.
And he let everybody know they're underway.
Yes, he did. Afterwards, he was asked, and he said, I'm open to play for all 30 teams. I am a hired gun. Got it? I am going to the highest bidder. Got it? I mean, just there's no ambiguity here, right? Does everybody understand where I'm coming from? All right.
Maybe Hal should get him a boo basket.
Think that would do the trick?
That might do it.
I think about $500-600 million with the boo baskets probably needed, but okay.
Well, I didn't say what was in the boo basket. It might be filled with gold, David.
Right, there you go. In all seriousness, we know how this works in all sports. You get a young, terrific player, very much in their prime. I mean, Soto turned 26 Friday. Game 1 of the World Series, he turned 26. I mean, so think about what you're getting. I mean, think about how many more, quote, prime years Juan Soto has. I mean, you could easily give him a 10-year contract. I mean, I know there's guys that sign these 10, 12. Trout signed a 14-year deal. Harper signed a 13-year deal. Well, I mean, Mark, I think if you want Soto, I think you got to give him 15 years.
15 years?
Yeah. Well, 14 years takes him through age 39. He's already said he wants to play till he's 40. Now, remember, you're trying to win the sweepstakes. Finishing second does you no good. The Blue Jays finished second for Ohtani. How's that working out? So you want to win these sweepstakes. There's 2 things here. 1 is years. 2 is cash. Boris is his agent. He doesn't like to do deferred money. He'll only do deferred money if you're going to make the average annual salary, the biggest in the sport. Well, that means that whoever wins the bidding for Soto would have to go over 70 a year, because that's what Ohtani's getting, even though 68 of the 70 is deferred.
Are you talking a $1 billion contract here?
No, I'm not, but I'm thinking, I'm trying to get into the head of Boris here, and I'm trying to win this. I don't want to do 60 days, okay? I want to have this sucker done by Thanksgiving. And that's what I'd say to Boris, too. Listen, we're coming at you. We're not negotiating. I'm coming at you with one big offer. 15 for 704. I guess technically it'd be 705. All right. And I'd look right at him and go, that's it. This is last contract. I'm getting him from age 26 through age 40. That's it. He's retired. He's going into the Hall of Fame wearing my jersey. That's number one. Number two, Ohtani's on the books for 700. I'm going to give you 705 cash, no deferred money, 47 a year. You know what he made this year, his final year of arbitration before free agency? 31. I mean, Betts is making 35. Trout, low 40s. I mean, think about what I'm trying to win this. I'm trying to get him. I'm going 15 for 705. That's 47 per. Deal, yes or no? And I got no problems if the answer is no. There's no second offer. It's it. 15 for 705. Take it or leave it.
What's the highest AAV right now in baseball?
Well, it depends. We doing cash for a year, or are we doing like Ohtani's is 70, but 68 of it's deferred?
Right.
I think then technically it's Trout, and it's like 43 and change.
Okay. So you're clearly making him the highest paid player.
Right.
Immediately.
And I'm giving you the biggest contract ever. A bigger contract than Ohtani, even though Ohtani's is 10 for 700, but that's deferred money. And you could, you've done the math, Scott. You know that contract's really only worth about half that with it being deferred.
We'll see. That the years would scare the hell out of most GMs and owners from that standpoint.
But you tell me when you don't think he's going to be a good player anymore. I mean, because if you signed him to a 10-year deal, you'd get him from age 26 through age 35. You're pretty confident about that 10-year deal, aren't you?
Extremely confident.
If I said if you got to go 12 to get him, you'd go, okay, I can go 12. I mean, come on, you would. You'd go, 36, 37. Freddie Freeman's 35. Is he a good ball player?
Terrific ball player. Just won the MVP.
Right. So, I think I can get you to 12. So basically, I'm looking right at you going, there's 3 years here. Come on. You'd sign off on 12. It took me 13 seconds. I got you to sign off on 12. So basically, I'd say, hey, boss, it's 3 years. Are you willing to go the final 3 years?
And we all know who's going to – there's only a handful of teams that can afford this.
Yeah. Although there's more than you think. The Giants can afford it. The Cubs can afford it. The Blue Jays can afford it. The Mets, the Yankees, the Phillies, the Dodgers, they can afford it. The Red Sox, if they wanted to, they could afford it. I mean, that's 8 teams that can afford this deal.
That is a lot of years, David.
I understand that. Do you want them, yes or no?
No, I want him. And it's just whether or not I want to eat those last 3 years at the back end of it that I don't think he's going to be that productive. Because based on how good he is, you should be able to get 10 to 12 out of them. You should.
Right. So 80%, you're comfortable with 80% of this contract. You're comfortable with 12. Sir, I think we have to go to 15 because then that'll get us over 700 and that'll get us the biggest deal ever. It's a win-win. There's literally not a single thing that Boris can ask for that we're not giving him. Remember, Harper's a Boris client. Harper got 13 years. Boris is going to, the word is Boris is going to be asking for a 12, 13-year deal.
And so you're just saying up it by 2 to guarantee you're going to get your guy.
Yeah, and I'm going to use those extra years to take it over Ohtani's value, and that'll get them to say yes.
That's a hell of a strategy, David, and I think it would work. What team has the kahunas to pull off something like that?
So we'll see when it's done how close to that deal it is. Matt Baker's next. We started our show 18 years ago and have been fired 3 times, but Miller and Moulton have never lived on the edge like we are now. We have our best morning ratings ever, are steadily adding affiliates, yet we only have a few sponsors. And if that doesn't change, we can't continue. But if you want to advertise on Miller and Moulton, reach out to one of us directly by texting sponsor to 21,000 or contact Mark on X at that Mark Miller or me at the David Moulton. You can save Miller and Moulton and make your business some serious money by texting 21,000 now.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh, no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and 1 replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So, David, I did a little R&D myself, and I text our former producer, Trent, who is well aware of the Boo Basket, and both brothers bought them for girlfriends.
So, daughter said she was aware of them, okay? Then asked me, did you get one? LOL. I text back, yes, a clear sign your mother is cheating on me. So now a follow-up question that I have with her is, did you ever give or receive one? Trent doesn't have a girlfriend.
No, but his brothers both do.
Right. And the one brother, amazingly, has still not put a ring on it. She was thought highly enough to be given the Lions playoff tickets, but not highly enough to marry, apparently.
Matt has the link, so we should be good.
Yeah, really. Is that what Jeter called it back in the day, a boo basket? Well, to compare the two, though, as players. Plus, also, Ellsbury got a 7-year deal. Wasn't he 31 when they gave it to him? I mean, that's the thing. You're getting Soto. I mean, he turned 26 last week.
Come on, Matt.
Exactly. He's played nearly 1,000 games. Right. Here he is.
Perfect. Good morning, Matt.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Great. Thanks for doing this way. It helps us out a ton. We lost our phones.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's such is life in a Fort Myers studio.
Sure.
All right, we're coming on right now. Thanks again, Matt.
Sure.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Roy Cummings will join us to talk the Tampa Bay Bucs at the top of the hour. Dr. Roto makes his weekly house call to answer your fantasy football questions 1 hour from now. JP Shadrick at the top of the Diamond District bonus hour will talk some Jags and a little college and pro football as well. But joining us now on the American Paint Supplies hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs, Matt Baker, now covering college football and college sports at large for The Athletic. Follow Matt on X at Matt Baker CFB. Matt Baker CFB. Matt, it's David and Mark. Thanks for your time. Congratulations on the new gig. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on. I've been in the new gig for, I think this is week 4 now, which means that I transitioned to the new job during a hurricane. Do not recommend that. For all you listening out there, do not change jobs during a hurricane. Don't do it. Not fun.
No, it is not. And unfortunately, one of the first major national stories that you had to cover is the tragedy in your backyard in Tampa involving Amir Abdul-Rahim, the South Florida men's basketball coach who died suddenly and tragically last week during surgery. And by the way, your work covering the story has been terrific. Obviously, very difficult, delicate story to cover. Just your thoughts. You live in Tampa. You know the struggles that school and program have had, and here he came and was an overnight sensation, and just the impact that he had in a year, but also how devastating of an impact this is going to be on South Florida.
Well, he had a tremendous impact on the athletic department. I mean, it's hard for me to just describe how irrelevant USF basketball has been. You know, I guess I can only speak for the 13 years I've been down here, but they had one flash where they made the tournament. And other than that, it's just a non-factor, right? Tampa, I don't think is a particularly good basketball town in general. But USF, it just didn't move the needle. But last year, people were talking about them. People were watching them. Like I vividly remember, you know, one of the big games, they're wearing like the slime green uniforms, and my family and I, you know, my wife and kid don't have major ties to USF or anything, but we were going to watch that because they were fun to watch. They were good. They were playing for something. And it had been a bit since that happened. And it's not all because of Coach Amir Abdul-Rahim, but a whole heck of a lot of it was. And so just the on-court impact he made was tremendous. And then, you know, I didn't cover the team very much. I was around a tiny bit, you know, with him in a press conference or two. So I can't say that I knew him well or anything, but talking to people who did know him well and who were around him a lot, what jumps out is just what a good dude he was, just a good human being, like the kind of guy, you know, as Michael Kelly, the AD, put it the other day, all the things that you would ask a coach to do, he was doing them already. You know, go hang out in the student union. He was buying lattes and Starbucks for people at the bookstore, like that type of stuff, just the goodwill in the community. He was already doing that just because that was his personality. And yeah, it was a tremendous loss for all of basketball. You can tell that by the outpouring that's happened since then for the school. And obviously, most importantly, his family and friends and the people who knew him best.
Yeah, there's no doubt this is tragic on so many different levels. And it really seemed with he and Golish that they had a couple of young coaches that were doing it the right way, doing the right things, and it leaves a tremendous void in the basketball program and obviously on the athletic department, because it seemed that between football and basketball, USF for the first time in a while really has things going in the right direction. Absolutely. And this is a pivotal time. And we'll awkwardly transition to the actual sports here from that. But it is just a pivotal time for college athletics writ large, right? Everyone's worried about where are they in the conference race, like conference realignment, the national picture. How are we going to pay athletes potentially next year with revenue sharing? We need more money, all this type of stuff. So it's make or break for a lot of places because there's such a fear of being left behind. If we're not good enough, we're going to get left behind by the big boys, the bigger conferences, wherever you are in those standings. And I say that because USF is in that position, right? Where they're in a mid-major conference, the American Athletic Conference. I think it's no secret that they would love to be in a Power Four if the opportunity arose. But to get there, they need a few things. They need to continue investing at a high level to show that they think they belong, like they want to be with the big boys. They need people showing up to games, watching on TV, all those other metrics. But they also have to win, because if they're doing all that and they're 0-12 in football and winning 6-7 games in basketball, it doesn't matter. Why would the Big Ten want you? Why would the ACC want you if you're going to be a bottom feeder? So the two sports that really matter, football drives the bus, but men's basketball it's not a non-factor either. So that's why this is just a pivotal time for them, because they need to be good in the two sports that matter most to kind of have a chance at shooting their shot when the opportunity arises.
Matt Baker, now of The Athletic. Follow him on X at Matt Baker CFB. Matt Baker CFB. Well, it's Florida Georgia week.
Darn right.
And first things first, though, they finally decided what they were going to do for the 2 years that they're not going to be able to play in Jacksonville. And sure enough, they decided not to do the home and home. They do Atlanta and Tampa. Was Tampa... Did they have to win this from Orlando, or was it really just a decision of were we going to go on campus or off?
Well, there were certainly plenty of places that would love to host the game, right? Like Daytona had expressed interest in hosting a college football game if they can make all that stuff work. The Speedway I'm talking about. Orlando's obviously done this many times, right? I've covered multiple games at Camping World Stadium, the Florida State Ole Misses, that sort of thing. So yeah, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion, but Tampa makes a lot of sense. You're playing in an NFL stadium with all the amenities that entails. There's going to be a good amount. I haven't seen a contract or anything, but there's going to be a good amount of money from that. Obviously, good recruiting footprint and what have you. So yeah, Tampa made a lot of sense there. And Tampa's got a history of hosting big time events. So this is just going to be the latest one. And I'm excited about the opportunity to cover a major game. That's a home game for me. That doesn't happen very often.
No doubt there. And I'm actually looking forward to Tampa just to see how they bring this out. And for a one-off, it should be a great event. But the game this week, obviously in Jacksonville, and Napier, I don't know, pressure is even the right word, because we all know the seat and how hot it is for Napier. How important is this game just to be respectable? Do they have to win for Napier to keep his job? Do they have to be respectable? If he gets blown out, could that be the end? How are all these things stacking up for the patience that Florida may or may not have with their head coach?
So I don't think he has to win. And frankly, I don't think that's fair. Okay, beat maybe the number one team in the country or you're out of a job. All right, that's not a fair expectation. Even if they get blown out, it would be hard for me to envision him losing his job on Sunday. I think at this point, the best argument for Florida is let it play out a little bit longer. Give him a chance to save his job, more so than looking for excuses to fire him, if that makes sense. Because there are opportunities here ahead, right? LSU here in a couple weeks, they're good. They're maybe very good. They're beatable. We've seen that. Ole Miss the week after that, a good team, but they are also beatable. And then obviously Florida State at the end. If Billy can win a couple of those too, maybe somehow he knocks off LSU or something, or finds a way to upset Texas, then there's clear year-over-year progress. There's also clear in-season progress, right, in that scenario. And then you're looking at DJ Lagway is probably playing really well. So you've got a star, rising star, superstar, whatever it is, at the game's most important position. So I think they need to let this thing play out a little bit. But part of that whole thing, what's baked into that, to what I'm saying, is he has to be respectable in the next three games. Now, if he gets blown out by Georgia, blown out by Texas, blown out by LSU, yes, those are very good teams. But Florida should be competitive with very good teams, midway through year three. So if he's not, that to me is going to be a major concern there and that's going to have a big impact on whether he stays or goes.
But if you go back and look over the last 10 years, and granted, the Florida football head coaching job has had a lot of volatility, but a lot has come about because of the result of this game. 10 years ago, Muschamp had to win this game or he was going to be fired immediately afterwards. He won the game, but then he lost like a week or two later and lost his job. McElwain lost his job in the 48 hours leading up to and during this game. The beginning of Dan Mullen's demise happened with Florida, Georgia. I mean, it just seems as if, and I don't know if it's, all the big money people that are surrounding, in Jacksonville or what have you, but it seems, Matt, in the last 10 years that this has been a very volatile game if you're a head coach in a situation at Florida.
There's definitely truth to that. The McElwain stuff was already in the mix. That was already happening where everybody knew it was going to happen right after the game. There was no surprise that it, and yes, your point on Mullen is totally fair. That was part of the beginning of the end. And again, to me, it's just being competitive. And because if he does get blown out, look, Georgia's the measuring stick right now. Not just at Florida, but for a whole bunch of places across the country. Georgia is more or less the standard. And certainly at Florida, they want to beat Georgia and they want to be competing for championships, which means they need to be on par with Georgia. So I'm not trying to minimize the game. I just don't think it's a 1 week, 1 game referendum, win or you're out situation. And again, I just don't think that's fair. And from where they are right now, they need to see a larger body of work. Because look, if they wanted to fire Billy, if they were looking for reasons to fire him, they would have fired him maybe after Miami, certainly after Texas A&M, right? Where it's not getting better. But at this point, it just makes sense to see, can he do it or can he not with DJ? Can he do it or can he not with this team as a whole and this roster that he's built and all these young players making progress during the season?
Matt Baker with The Athletic, formerly with the Tampa Bay Times, join us here on Miller and Moulton. You mentioned Miami. Do you think that they're in if they run the table to 11-0? In what type of shot do you give them against the big boys? Because it seems that this defense lacks a certain bit of oomph when they play against stellar competition.
Yeah, I can't say that Miami is like definitely in the playoff, but I give them a very high chance of making it. Even if they lose to Clemson in the ACC championship, right? I think SMU is still in the mix too. There's like weird tiebreakers and stuff. Even if they go 12-0, 11-1, losing the ACC championship, I would certainly think they're in. And honestly, them kicking the crap out of Florida would be a pretty big feather in their cap the way that played out. You know, a win over an SEC team, even if it is a middling SEC team in that scenario. I don't know that. Yeah, they're not in. I don't think they're a national championship contender. I don't think they're on that level necessarily. But can they go to the playoff and win a game or two? Yeah, absolutely. I think the defense is good enough. I think the running backs are certainly good enough. There's skill at receiver, and Cam Ward, when he's on, he's playing about as well as any quarterback in the country. I still think there's possibilities where he's going to have a dud of a game or two and lose the ball the way he did at Washington State and potentially have Miami slip up in the process. But yeah, I see no reason why they can't make the playoff and have a potential, and depending how the matchups shake up and all this stuff, to win a game or two in there. Sure.
If you had asked me 6 weeks ago which team would be 6-2 and be getting ranked, and which Big 12 team would be 3-5 and be in disarray, and the choices were Colorado or UCF, I would have had the two schools flipped. What in the world's going on in Orlando? And if you're running the show in Orlando, I mean, you had to think Gus Malzahn was going to be a terrific hire and was going to be able to take you into the Big 12 and make this work. It ain't working.
No, it's not right now. The sample size of what we have is not good. And so the question is why? I don't know. Some of it is Gus. Like, you know, I'm not saying it was a bad hire. I certainly would not have said that at the time, because I think you're exactly right. What he was able to do in flashes at Auburn, you put him in a program that's rising and not in the SEC, not at Auburn where everybody's nuts. Yeah, it made a lot of sense. But yes, it's not working out. How much of it is Gus as a play caller, just the offensive mind? Maybe that's not working. How much of it was quarterbacks clearly not working? You know, they've had 4 different guys play. How much of it is just, it's really hard to make that jump, right? Where if you look historically, there aren't a lot of teams who go from the mid-major level to the Power 4, Power 5, whatever it was at the time, level without some hiccups along the way. And that's my question with UCF, is how much of it is, look, it's really hard to do this, and how much of it is the specific personnel, the specific staff, and what have you. And I definitely think there are some issues at UCF. You look at some of the opt-outs they've had, just some of that type of stuff. I would have major concerns if I were a UCF fan about where the program is going. But it's also, let's not pretend like this is a situation where UCF was going to be able to win the league immediately. That's not the way it works.
Right. He's Matt Baker, now with The Athletic. Follow him on X at Matt Baker CFB. Matt Baker CFB. Matt, always appreciate your time and your insight. Safe travels this week, and hopefully we can talk again soon.
Deal. Thanks, guys.
Matt Baker from The Athletic, kind enough to join us here on Miller and Moulton.
Alarming disturbances. I've reached out to our former producers. They are all aware of the Boo Basket. They have brothers that are buying them. This is a tremendous, tremendous problem. But we'll talk Bucs with Roy Cummings next and try to save Halloween after that.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing. They are currently looking for police officers and are offering a $10,000 signing bonus to newly hired officers. If you desire a career in law enforcement, or if you are already in law enforcement and thinking about making a move to a better agency, think Cape Coral Police Department. If you're looking for a police department that is committed to excellence, that invests in the highest level of training, state-of-the-art equipment, and some of the highest compensation in all of Southwest Florida, then the Cape Coral Police Department is for you. Visit capecops.com. That's capecops.com.
At Physical Therapy and Balance Centers, our goal is to help you love your life. When your life is sidelined by an injury, dizziness, surgery, or condition keeping you from doing what you love, We're here to help you heal and feel your best. Our therapist evaluation will determine the root cause of your health challenges, resulting in a unique treatment plan customized just for you. Visit www.physical.com to find your nearest location and see how we can help you love your life.
Do you have a sleep problem but don't want to wear a CPAP mask? This is Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. The mask wasn't working for me, and I didn't think I had an alternative. I do. We all do. They have such simple alternatives with greater success than the mask. Visit sleeptreatmentdirect.com. That's sleeptreatmentdirect.com. And if you are like me and your CPAP machine isn't working for you, it's time for a change. Call 239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Gentlemen, as your wife mentioned getting new flooring, but you don't want to go through the hassle, well, go see the Floor Meisters in Naples next to Costco. They understand your time and money are important, so they'll make it as painless as possible. With a huge in-stock selection of carpet and Cortec, they can get you the floor your wife's been asking for. They carry wood, vinyl, carpet, and tile. If you do it yourself, no problem. They can handle that as well. So go see TJ at the Floor Meisters and tell them, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Roy,
Hey,
how are you? Well, baseball season closed out us a little early.
yeah, too early. Don't like the end of baseball season.
Well, not only that, I think many of us at 5-0 were like, well, I'll be damned, we're going to have a game Friday. And then to not end up having a game Friday, it's like, son of a gun.
Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Yeah, I was hoping for a little more. It was such a good, well, I guess it wasn't a good series, but there were just a lot of things going on in the series that were so interesting and good. You know, Freddie Freeman and Ohtani trying to come back, and just, can the Yankees, finally get off the schneid here? And boy, oh boy, just a lot going on. Good series, really.
Answering a couple questions in our Twitch chat room. We had Amir Abdul-Rahim on the show twice.
Oh,
Last year, we also, there was a player that we had on at least once also, because we had established a decent relationship with South Florida with Golish, that we also, when the basketball team started to have success,
yeah.
because we had him on the show actually before he coached a game, because we followed the Ace Sun, so we knew about what he had done at Kennesaw. Then we had him on during the year. Roy, do you know what a boo basket is?
I do not.
Okay.
Good. I found out from my son yesterday that apparently now women, and I'm guessing this is a Gen Z thing, but expect a gift like a boo basket is a little, candy, candle, Halloween gift basket for your significant other.
Oh,
Right.
at any moment, specific.
Well, boo being Halloween, so it's a boo
I see, for
basket.
Halloween. Oh,
Right. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So they've weaseled their way into another gift, is what's
Right.
happening.
Right. So Mark's 25-year-old son was shopping for a boo basket yesterday, which has just sent the two old men on the show into a tizzy today.
Yeah. Well, holy Toledo. Jeez. Yeah. God forbid you forget a special date or something. Holy
Right.
cow.
Yeah. Didn't realize Halloween was one of them.
Me either. Yeah. Wow. Got to know the right candy, right candle scent.
Just it.
Boy.
I mean, what? And then also, if you do it, so we have to do this every year. If you put a ring on it, you don't have to do the basket anymore. I mean, when do we
what
stop?
are the rules around that? Yeah.
Right.
How do you get out of it?
Totally.
I guess you got to break up.
You have to be dating for a certain period of time before you get a boo basket.
Yeah. Does the guy get a boo basket?
Apparently, you can.
Oh, okay. Maybe a new putter.
Well played. All right, here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Dr. Roto will join us in a little more than 30 minutes' time. So start formalizing those fantasy football questions. We will take them from you coming up. JP Shadrick to talk Jags 1 hour from now. But Roy Cummings joins us once again. He covers the Bucs. You can follow Roy on X, R Cummings FHCN, R Cummings FHCN. And for the record, Roy does not know what a boo basket is, and he has not purchased one nor been given one as a gift. Although you had a heck of an idea during the break. Okay, would you be willing to get your wife a boo basket if in turn she gave you a
new putter?
I like it. I like it, Roy. I like where you catch that with that.
It works both ways, right?
Right. Supposedly it does for
if
Jen. What do we see
baskets,
now? Yep. So Roy joining us on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Listen. Is the defense fixable in all seriousness? Or have they just had guys out, and if they get them back, okay, they'll be able to put Humpty Dumpty back together again? Or no, they're going to be bad for the rest of the year?
Yeah, guys, look, I'm always very positive. Unfortunately, I didn't bring any props today. And if I did, the glass would not be half full. It would be half empty on this question. I don't see it. I just don't see where it's going to come from. Maybe Chris Braswell comes up and gets some snaps here and there and shows some life or brings some life. But without a pass rush, you're just exposing, you're not allowing quarterbacks to, you're not pushing them off the spot. I don't see it. I just don't see it coming. I don't see the talent here. I guess I've overrated it. I thought it was better. I think the Bucs thought it was better. It's not coming together. I'm like you guys. I've had enough of JTS. I won't say the name. I don't see it. I don't see it, guys. This is not fixable, except for the work of several drafts, I think.
And there aren't bodies out. I mean, it's not like you can go make a big trade and do it. And the problem is, if the defense isn't fixable, Roy, Baker's great, and I love Baker Mayfield, but without Godwin, with Evans still on the mend, they can't score enough. They can't produce enough, and they're putting too much pressure on Baker to have to produce enough to try to keep up with what the defense is leaving them out there.
Right. And when you say they can't score enough, I think they can score enough to win games. I think they can score above average points for an NFL team right now. I think they're capable of that. I think the running game is coming around. They're very happy with Jalen McMillan, Trey Palmer. I think they feel very good about the receivers they've got. And obviously, Cade Otton proved to be a bit of a weapon that was untapped before last week. And Baker, but the problem is this, guys. Baker Mayfield is now starting to feel the pressure that Jameis Winston and so many other quarterbacks who've played for the Buccaneers have felt in the past. Without a defense that you can count on, you have to start to try to make plays that aren't there, and that's what we've seen out of Baker Mayfield the last 3 weeks. 7 picks, and it's because he's trying to make plays that he doesn't need to make. And when you're a quarterback and you don't trust your defense, that's how it shows up. You don't need to ask him a question in the press conference. You don't need to ask him, off to the side privately about, what's going on there. We know what's going on. He doesn't trust the defense to hold anybody. He feels he's got to make every play and plays that aren't there, and he's trying to make plays that aren't there, and that's costing the Buccaneers points and scoring opportunities. So it's really a tough situation. They've got to get him out of that habit, and I don't know that that's doable because he's feeling the weight of it.
By the way, quick sidebar. You mentioned Jameis. How about Jameis last week? And how about, he is a Geno Smith, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold candidate for the rest of this year in 2025, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Look, the talent has always been there. He's a gunslinger. You're going to have moments where you bury your head in your hands and say, what in the world? But at the end of the day, he's got talent. He's a good quarterback, a smart quarterback. But again, he's always in situations where he's got to be the comeback kid. And that is so hard to do in the NFL. It's very hard. And, good for him. And I hope it continues because, you know what? Deep down, he's a good kid. He's a darn good kid.
And he's a quote machine. Anytime you can put Eminem and God in the same quote after a game, I'm all in. And we'll never get away from that. All right. Back to Baker and the offense, because we know where the defense's limitations are. And you talked about the breakout of a running game. They've got to figure out a way to pound the rock, because throwing it 50 times is not going to get it done with this defense. Otton's a nice addition because you can eat up some time and some yards that way, but they're going to really have to figure out how to slow the game down for their offense and score. You're right, Roy, they can score enough points, but that style leaves the defense out too long. They're going to really have to figure out how to run the ball for the rest of the season.
And I think that's doable too. In my opinion, they've barely scratched the surface with what they can do with the running game. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that as you go through the course of the game and you fall behind, you have to throw the ball. And so they're throwing it more than they want to. But I think if they could somehow get ahead again, they've kind of struggled here to get ahead. And if they can do that, then they can start pounding the rock a little bit more. But look, the talent is there. Rachaad White, very effective. You can't help but like what you're seeing out of everybody in that running back room. It's a good group. Bucky Irving has shown that he's certainly capable. Sean Tucker has shown that he can make some big plays. You start running those 3 guys out there in a rotation of some kind, and you're going to wear out some defenses, especially when you're at home. I think a good time to start up with this idea is maybe this week against the Chiefs, because you got to come up with something different, guys. What you're doing right now isn't working. And again, as you pointed out, Mark, it's a matter of how do we keep the defense off the field for at least maybe a series? Can we steal a series or 2 defensively by holding on to the ball a little bit longer and running down the clock? And you got to do it with the running game. And they're capable. They really are.
Would you trade for someone, or do you look at the defense and go, too many holes? Someone in the Twitch chat room mentioned Ojulari from the Giants, and I do think the Giants are going to have a bit of a fire sale, and he's a pass rusher. I think Ojulari would give you 6+ sacks the rest of the year if you brought him in, and they don't have a guy like that. When he's healthy, he's a productive player. But would you give up a 4th or 5th round pick for an Ojulari? Is that enough to help get you to the playoffs? Is that worth giving up a pick you don't want to give up?
It is for me if I believe that you're going to retain the player long term. You don't want to rent him. You want to make sure that you've got him long term. So if you believe that you can sign him long term, and the way deals work nowadays is you don't usually make that trade until you've had those conversations. And, it's going on behind the scenes. It's not supposed to be legal or whatever, but nobody's making a trade now without at least one eye on the future saying, okay, can we retain the player long term? If you think he fits what you do long term and you think you can make him a part of this long term, yes, I would give up a third, even a fourth or a fifth for a player that I think fits that category. And I would do it at every position, every level on the defense, all three levels, defensive line, linebacker, secondary. If there's a safety out there that you think fits what you do, go get him. If there's a linebacker, go get him. If there's a defensive end, as you said, go get him. I think you have to start looking at that because I said at the top of the segment, the defense is, in my opinion, is not fixable. It's going to take a long time, couple of drafts at least, couple of free agency signings, and yes, maybe even a trade or two here down the stretch. And if you can get rid of some of the waste that you've got, the guys who aren't going to make it for you anymore, JTS, for example, if somebody can, is willing to take them off your hands and give you a draft pick back, do that. Whatever you got to do to fix it. But a lot needs to be done.
How much of this, if any, is on Todd Bowles? Because you said it's not fixable. He's a defensive coach. This was supposed to be his forte with this team, and the defense is not good. So how much of this do you pin on the coach?
I pinned a lot of it on him last week because he went away from what works best for him defensively, which is the blitz. Deciding that, okay, the first time we tried to blitz Kirk Cousins, it didn't work. So today we're not going to blitz him. Well, that didn't work either. At some point, certainly beginning of the second half, I would have said, okay, let's go back to the blitz. But they decided to stick to their game plan. I understand it. But so I put that on him, but I don't put the talent on him. He's not picking the talent. That's on Jason Light. And look, you guys know I'm a big Jason Light fan. I think he and his staff have done a tremendous job. But you know what? When you're picking 24th, 25th, 26th in the draft, you're not getting the best players. You're getting someone who you think might fit. And if everything works out right, well, maybe he can give us some snaps, 10 or 12 quality snaps a game, and we'll make it work, but they haven't been able to do it. JTS hasn't been a player for him. Braswell hasn't really shown up yet. We like Kalijah Cansey, but it's still just, a flash here and a flash there. It's not consistent. I mean, is anybody outside of Vita Vea really playing consistently? I like what we see out of Logan Hall. Diaby looks good, but other than that, it's just not enough. So I got to put it on the coaching or the scouting staff and Jason Light. But again, they've been put in tough spots with where they're drafting every year, so that's not easy to do.
He's Roy Cummings. He covers the Bucs for us. You follow him on X at @RCummingsFHCN, @RCummingsFHCN. And think good thoughts for Roy. He's a little down. The baseball season's over. He doesn't quite know. He's going to watch some hockey. That's true. But, he was hoping for a little bit more. Roy, as always, thanks for your time. Be well.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me as always. Appreciate it.
Roy Cummings, kind enough to join us once again. And he did so on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
That was as glass half empty as Roy's ever been on this show, David.
Ever.
I mean, he is as positive about the Bucs, even when things are going badly. He's positive, and I think his expectations this season were higher, and I think we all know losing that second game against Atlanta takes the division out of play for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Especially with the Chiefs and the Niners up next, and, the thought is they'll be 4-6, and so maybe they can make a wild card run from there, but they got to get one of the next two. They do. It's as simple as that. They have to be 5-5 heading into their bye. Then they get Mike Evans back, and then they can make their wild card run from there. All right, start thinking about your fantasy questions. Dr. Roto will join us in 25 minutes to answer all your fantasy football questions on Miller and Moulton.
We started our show 18 years ago and have been fired 3 times, but Miller and Moulton have never lived on the edge like we are now. We have our best morning ratings ever and are steadily adding affiliates. Yet, we only have a few sponsors, and if that doesn't change, we cannot continue. But If you want to advertise on Miller and Moulton, reach out to one of us directly by texting sponsor to 21,000 or by contacting me on X at @MarkMiller or David at @TheDavidMoulton. You can save Miller and Moulton and make your business some serious money by texting 21,000 now. American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When you enter the Diamond District, you will quickly discover what makes Jason and Todd so unique to Southwest Florida. Within the walls of the Diamond District, you'll find many of America's top jewelry designers who have chosen the Diamond District as their authorized representative in Southwest Florida. Takori, Fana, A. Jaffe, Veragio, Christopher Designs, Shy Creations, Henri Dossi, all names synonymous with excellence and all proudly showcased at the Diamond District.
Gentlemen, as your wife mentioned getting new flooring, but you don't want to go through the hassle, well, go see the Floor Meisters in Naples next to Costco. They understand your time and money are important, so they'll make it as painless as possible. With a huge in-stock selection of carpet and Core-Tech, they can get you the floor your wife's been asking for. They carry wood, vinyl, carpet, and tile. If you do it yourself, no problem. They can handle that as well. So go see TJ at the Floor Meisters and tell them, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
So I was wrong. Felipe did not buy one for Soph. I'm impressed.
Good.
But he did say he thinks she's expecting one.
But he can get away with it, though, because they're not, in the same city.
Right. He can just show up this weekend with one and say,
Right.
here. Yeah,
So,
I mean,
just. Happy Halloween, Jake. God, man.
When was it? When did a boo basket become a thing? Fly Panda Fly.
Right. That's our point.
Out.
Oh.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
Always have a busy show on a Thursday, this being the final Thursday of October. It's Halloween, trick or treat. Happy Halloween. Is a Halloween a part of your life today? Even if it's just you're giving out the candy. What candy are you giving out? And are you giving out non-chocolate stuff? Like the worst thing that one of our listeners has owned up to today, they're giving out pretzels.
Yay.
You know, like a little bag of pretzels. You know, hopefully a lot bigger than what you get on an airplane. But pretzels.
Or they're perhaps a stewardess and just ripped off a few bags off the plane, and that's what they're giving out. Thank you from Southwest Airlines.
I hope they're not American Airlines pretzels. They suck.
Really?
Yeah. Not good. Not
Do you
good.
like the little cookies that Delta gives you?
Yeah, I'm fine with the cookies. I'm fine if it's like a Chex Mix. Okay. But if you're going to go pretzels, the pretzels need to be decent. And most of the airlines' pretzels are not decent. I think Americans are the worst.
All right. Good to know.
I mean, don't get me wrong. You know, I'll eat 13 bags if they give them to me. But, you know, I try to eat my bag so quickly that the person, the stewardess, the flight attendant is still there. And I can look up and go, another one? I mean, that's how quickly I eat my pretzels. I'm hoping to get 2. I have no problem, by the way, asking for more than 1.
Do you ask for the whole can of
Totally.
soda?
Oh, yeah. And I give them the visual, too. I bring my hand up and I go, and I'd like a can of, yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And they say, would you like pretzels, cookie, or what have you? And I go, can I have all of the above? I mean, listen, it can't hurt to ask.
No. And I don't think they care. They just want to get rid of
No.
the stuff anyhow. They're just firing it out as quickly as they can.
Just trying to get to the back row. I mean, they're just trying to get through the line as quickly as possible. Hey, this will make you happy. Knock yourself out.
Keep you quiet for a little bit longer. We're just trying to get from A to B here.
Yep. Dr. Roto to join us in 15 minutes time. Start pumping in your questions, your fantasy football questions. 21,000 on the text line, Twitch chat room, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. Fire away. Hey, so we've been talking about Halloween on the show today, you know, with candy, but also Mark discovered last night talking to his son that apparently the Gen Z, right? Your daughter, my daughter, your son, they're Gen Z,
Gen
right?
Z, yes.
And so apparently there's a thing, and it's a boo basket.
That's correct, David. You get it for your boo. You see, it's a cute, name for your significant other.
See, I thought it was boo as in boo, Halloween, scare, fright.
It's both,
See, it's funny. I was never Snookums, honey, boo, babe. I was never that guy.
No?
No.
Boy, that's a. Where's my breaking news sounder right now?
Come on, you'd have thought that maybe even stuffy old soul me would have, honey. So I was never that guy. Never had a word for, the woman in my life except their name. I was, I was actually fairly romantic back in the day.
And that's all been taken out of you because of your wife, who doesn't like flowers and doesn't want you to get her anything.
Well, exactly. She's now like, don't spend money on this. Don't spend money on this. I'm like, there's nothing left. She's like, exactly. Okay.
But I am very pleased to discover I was inaccurate because I reached out to both of our former producers, who are both the same age roughly as my son.
Yeah, they're like 23-ish, right?
I think they're 24, 25 now.
Okay.
I think. But Trent, who does not have a girlfriend,
right,
informed me that both of his brothers bought boo baskets for their significant others.
Wow.
And he said, I'm proud of them. And I said, I'm embarrassed for them.
I am too.
And I reached out to Felipe, our first producer in Act 3, and he went expletive no. And I'm like, that a boy. But then I said, is she expecting one? And he said, possibly. Because it sounded like he bought one last year, but he said in the midst of all the sports going on this year, it slipped his mind.
Oh, see that? We talked about that. That's the problem with giving a boo basket. We think you're stuck. Unless the relationship goes to a higher level in which, that was the cute dating phase. We're beyond that now, but that's not usually how it works. I mean, once you were cute and loving and cuddly and romantic once, hey, a year later, you're not cute, cuddly, loving, and romantic. What's going on?
What happened?
Right.
What's going on? We've lost that spark.
Right. That love and feeling. What's happening here? Yeah. We also got into, costumes and outfits and what have you. And, we normally don't do this to encourage you maybe to like break away from the show. So you don't have to break away from the show. You could just take our word on it. But Good Morning Football, NFL Network's morning show. So, we talked about, what outfits do you wear? If you're an adult, what would you wear? Well, Jamie Erdahl is the host of the show, along with three guys. And there's another woman, Cherie Burris, who frequently joins them. And so the two of them decided today to get dressed up as Kirsten Dunst and Gabrielle Union from the movie Bring It On. Remember the cheerleading movie?
Cheerleading movie.
Yeah.
Of course I remember that movie.
It was around 2000. Okay, and you got the white cheerleaders and the black cheerleaders and the big competition and who was going to win and the jealousy and who's going to get the guys right.
Doing their act.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, Erdahl and Cherie Burris are both in, and they got the actual cheerleading costumes of the two high schools in the movie. And they're wearing them.
Hubba hubba.
Yeah. So
they replay that at 10. I may have to throw it on when I get home.
I think they do.
I know they do.
So
that's a fact.
So anyway, Jamie Erdahl and Cherie Burris as Kirsten Dunst and Gabrielle Union with Bring It On doing Good Morning Football this morning.
I'm surprised you even knew that movie existed.
Come on. Come on. You don't think my daughter stumbled upon that movie? I mean,
right.
She was 3 when it came out, but I mean, you don't think when she was 8, 10 years old that she stumbled upon that movie? Come on.
All right. Fair enough. I thought because it was a little before her time that she would have not stuff, but I think they even did a remake of it or a second or a third or whatever the case may be. But get your questions in for Dr. Roto. Dr. Roto coming up in about 10 minutes time. Your fantasy questions helping you set your lineup for this week in fantasy football as we're getting to the nitty gritty and trying to get you into the playoffs with Dr. Roto coming up here and a couple of minutes.
Dodgers win the World Series. Technically, everyone's a free agent beginning today, but they're only a free agent for the team that they're currently playing with. They have to wait till 5 o'clock Monday before they can become a free agent for the other 29 teams. We talked about what will the contract have to be to win the Juan Soto sweepstakes. The bar I threw out there, and remember, we threw out well over $500 million over a year in advance for Ohtani, and obviously we were low because it ended up being 10 for 700, and we thought it would get to 600, albeit most of it deferred. The bar I'm throwing out is 15 for 705. 47 a year. He just turned 26 last week.
Covers two factors. It makes him the highest paid player on an annual basis, and it gives him the largest contract. Ohtani would make more money, but it's deferred money. So as far as in the now, he would be making the most money per year, and it would be the biggest contract ever. Miller and Moulton. Dr. Roto next.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. You have a sleep problem but don't want to wear a CPAP mask? This is Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. The mask wasn't working for me, and I didn't think I had an alternative. I do. We all do. They have such simple alternatives with greater success than the mask. Visit sleeptreatmentdirect.com. That's sleeptreatmentdirect.com. And if you are like me and your CPAP machine isn't working for you, it's time for a change. Call 239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
A natural diamond is the oldest artifact you will ever touch, and each is one of a kind. Jason and Todd at the Diamond District would like to meet you personally and share their love of natural diamonds and the positive impact of purchasing a natural diamond. We promise that in our vault sits the largest selection of GIA certified natural diamonds at the most competitive prices in the world. Jason and Todd look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing. They are currently looking for police officers and are offering a $10,000 signing bonus to newly hired officers. If you desire a career in law enforcement, or if you are already in law enforcement and thinking about making a move to a better agency, think Cape Coral Police Department. If you're looking for a police department that is committed to excellence, that invests in the highest level of training, state-of-the-art equipment, and some of the highest compensation in all of Southwest Florida, then the Cape Coral Police Department is for you. Visit capecops.com. That's capecops.com.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Morning, Doc.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Hanging in there. Oh, that's the Carver Heist, the White Shadow?
Yes.
That's old school.
Yes. That 70 Sports. I don't know if you follow that guy on X.
Yeah.
He's got his whole shop, and that's one of the shirts on there. I bought it about a year ago.
You know, that show was so great, but it only was on for like 2 seasons.
2 seasons. We were talking about it because David brought it up when he saw the shirt, and it tackled every issue under the sun.
It did. It was one of the greatest shows, and there were a lot of talented actors in there.
Yeah.
The guy who played Thorpe with the glasses became like some really big director in Hollywood and stuff like that.
Right. That's another name. We're trying to go through the names. There's Coolidge, Washington, Thorpe, Salami.
Coolidge, Washington, Thorpe, Salami. Those were the big four, right? Weren't they? Coolidge was the center.
You got it.
Salami. Oh, then there was another white guy with glasses.
Yeah, 3 seasons. That's all it lasted. That's funny.
And Ken Howard was the coach. You should have said you played there.
Well, I figure if I wear the shirt around, so that's the story I went to high school. Half people wouldn't even know what this shirt is. No more than half.
Do you hear David? I don't hear David.
He's back. He's just getting his headset on. I don't hear you, David. Don't know what you did. There you go.
Okay.
Were you naming the White Shadow players? Because we couldn't hear you.
He got another one, Thorpe. That was another player on the team. You went away again.
Morris Thorpe was the point guard.
Now you're back.
Yankees should have won that game last night.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, you can't give 6 outs in an inning.
Yankees should be up 3-2.
They really should.
But they certainly should have forced a game 6. My goodness.
I've never seen a pitch served up in my life like the one that Cortez served up to Freddie Freeman. Whew. He grooved that down. Grooved it.
He did. It was about 6 inches too low.
So does Juan Soto go back to New York? Or do you think he goes to LA?
I don't think he goes out west. I think he stays east.
Well, there's only 2 teams that'll pay him.
I actually don't rule out Toronto.
Why would he go there? Just for the money?
Well, first off, he's already said he's basically said he's going the highest bidder. Yeah, they finished second for Ohtani.
I know they did. They were close.
Yeah. Also, don't rule out Philadelphia.
Interesting. So you think Soto doesn't care about winning a World Series? He'll just go to Toronto and take the money.
Well, he's already won one. See,
I guess that's true.
He was with the Nats.
I guess that's true. Forgot that one.
So
I don't know. Would you want to leave the Yankees or not go to the Dodgers? 2 teams where you know you're going to be.
No. If I'm Soto, I'm staying with the Yankees. They're the Yankees. B, that ballpark.
Right. All right. Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
With Dr. Roto, E of drroto.com, drroto.com, and you can follow him on X at Dr. Roto as well. You can listen to him Saturday mornings on SiriusXM's Fantasy Sports Radio. He's got a tremendous fantasy website, a great staff. Quite frankly, if you follow his advice, you win money. It's that simple. Dr. Roto joining us once again. Doc, how are you?
I'm doing pretty well, just getting over the World Series. No more baseball, but we're going to continue to watch plenty of football for the next few months.
Curious, we've had some deals. We've got some quarterbacks that have been benched and what have you. Based on what has transpired and what you saw last weekend, are you making any roster adjustments? Like, I don't think any of us thought that Winston and the Browns were going to throw for 350 and score the points. I'm just curious, are you making any adjustments off of what's happened in the last 10 days?
Well, you should have thought that. Baltimore's pass defense is not very good, right there. I mean, the Ravens are they're not as good as we think they are defensively. They're very good offensively, especially with Deontay Johnson now, because Rashad Bateman was highly inconsistent. But Jameis Winston wasn't a surprise. Cedric Tillman, I've been giving this guy his name out for 2 weeks now. So that didn't shock me. I think the one that people will think is a shocker will be the Colts. But what's shocking is Anthony Richardson completing 10 passes. You can't win in the NFL completing 10 passes. You've got Michael Pittman, you've got Josh Downs, you've got too many receivers who are literally just running up and down a field, and it hurts them. So I think the Colts players are a lot better today. I obviously think Deontay Johnson's a lot better today. I think DeAndre Hopkins is way, way better today than he'll ever be. And, let's start from there. I mean, and by the way, TJ Hawkinson's back for the Vikings.
All right. Question for you in general. I have a lot of people that have asked me, and I don't know where to go with this right now, but if you're thin at running back, which seemingly everybody in fantasy football is a little thin at running back, where are you looking on the waiver wire? You always are a couple weeks ahead of people. So is there something out there, if there's a player to pick up from a running back standpoint, who's available, Doc?
Yeah, that's such a great question because, you look on the waiver wire and there's literally nothing. There's nothing. And you're saying, how is this possible? I think what you need to do at running back is get a little lucky. So, for example, Zamir White was good last year. I loved him coming into this year. You know that. And then, he seemed to have been usurped by Alexander Madison. Well, maybe you go out and you take a Zamir White and you stash him. Why? Guys get hurt every day. And things change. The Raiders stink. Maybe they say, well, maybe it's time to give Zamir White some more carries again. So I think you're going to need to get lucky. You're going to look for a player who's like, maybe a Ray Davis. You're stashing guys who are one injury away from being good because there's nobody out there right now what are you going to pick up? Some random guy who gets one catch out of the backfield? No, you're better off picking up a guy who could be the starter if and when an injury happens.
All right. Some questions coming in on the Twitch chat room. And by the way, fire away, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton, and 21,000 on the text line. Your questions for Dr. Roto. Jay Noel wants to know, first off, he wishes you happy Halloween, but he wants to know Stafford or Darnold?
Happy Halloween to him as well and to everybody out there. That's a tough one. It really is. So first of all, I think I like Stafford, their favorite in this game. He's got his receivers back. So, and he needs some touchdown regression. I mean, he was not throwing touchdowns, but I think he should this week. Darnold, it was funny. I was talking about it on a podcast last night with some two of my guys that work for me on my site. Darnold needs players to be wide open, right? He doesn't like throwing the ball unless they're open. Now, against the Colts, you would think that he's going to find some open receivers. So do I think Darnold should throw for 2 touchdowns this week? I think so. So let's put it this way. Darnold is the higher floor. I think Stafford may have a little higher ceiling.
Another quarterback question for you. C.J. Stroud or Joe Flacco? Who do you like, Doc?
Man, I don't trust this Texans-Jet game tonight. This is just a little ugly to me. So I'm going to stay away from this one.
Sonny wants to know McConkey or Judy at wide receiver.
Yeah, so look, I don't like point chasing. But I think with Ladd McConkey, it's not point chasing. I think he's legitimately good. And I think we've talked about this before. You've got to look at receivers against the coverages that they like to play against. Ladd McConkey in college was the second best receiver against man coverage in college behind Malik Neighbors. He comes to the pros, and what did we see last week? What we see a Saints defense that plays a lot of man coverage. Well, what do the Browns play? A lot of man coverage. I love Ladd McConkey.
Another quarterback question for you. Tua or Kirk Cousins?
I mean, look, you want Kirk Cousins. I know they're going to be able to run on Dallas, but they should be able to throw on Dallas. If there's a game that looks like it could explode, that's one of them. I mean, the Falcons already have a 27.5 implied total, and Cousins has been very efficient, very effective. So I think Kirk Cousins is a smart play there.
JB wants to know in a 12-team PPR flex, does he go Chase Brown against the Raiders or Josh Downs against the Vikings?
Ooh, that's a good question. I like me some Chase Brown this week against the Raiders in a game where the Bengals – the only problem with the Bengals is you got to push the Bengals. If the Bengals are pushed, they'll score. If not, they kind of just like mid the game around. I do like Josh Downs, but I think this could be a week. The Raiders give up close to 5 yards per carry, and Chase Brown, that just feeds right into him. He's not a grinder. He's the explosive guy. So I think I'll take a shot on Chase Brown.
Running back, who you sitting? Montgomery, Josh Jacobs, Tank Bigsby. Who sits?
I think I'm sitting Tank Bigsby because I expect ETN to be back.
Tell you what, Jacksonville's interesting in talking about guys who are going to potentially be traded. There's a few teams out there that I wonder, I think the Dolphins may bail on Mostert here and trade him by Tuesday. And I'm curious if, he goes somewhere else. Is he a better fantasy play? Irish football wants to know Cooper or Metcalf?
Well, getting back to that would give you a running back that you want to deal with because Jaden Wright is great. So Wright is a guy that you'd want to pick up immediately. Cooper against the Dolphins or Metcalf against the Rams. Give me Metcalf against the Rams, even though I think Cooper's in play. I do. I think Cooper's in play. But, DK Metcalf, if Seattle's going to win this game, it's going to be by the feet of Kenneth Walker and the hands of DK Metcalf making a couple of big plays. But you got to watch that very carefully with the knee. I expect him to return, but it's not a guarantee.
Another McConkey question, non-PPR, McConkey or Judy?
Look, Jerry Jeudy is fine, but Jerry Jeudy was in a really great situation last week. I told you, the Ravens just don't play great defense. So that's why it was more attractive. So I think I'm not as big a fan on him this week as I was last week.
Malik Neighbors or Brian Thomas Jr., who you starting?
Malik Neighbors may be the lock of the week, honestly, against the Commanders, where even, Daniel Jones should have a little time to throw. Now, my only concern here was that Neighbors was getting targeted 1 million times before the injury. Since the injury, they've realized there's Slayton and there's Wandale, but there's no Tyrone Tracy this week. I don't see him coming back from the concussion. So I think they're going to throw more. I really like Neighbors.
Ambient wants to know Higgins or Puka.
I don't think you can play Higgins. I don't know if Higgins is going to play. And I think this was my big question about drafting Higgins in the first place. We all know that Higgins wants out. He wants a contract. You think he's rushing back so quickly? I don't see it.
There's a question about trading Mason since McCaffrey's coming back. I'm just curious, is there a move out there that you should make this week? Okay, it's not going to pay dividends for you this week, but it's going to start paying dividends for you next week.
If you don't trade Mason now, you may never be able to trade him. You call up the guy who has McCaffrey and you try to and you talk about how McCaffrey's always injured, which he is. And we don't even know if he's going to come back. He could, after the first game, he could miss some time. Mason's look good. You sell him on that, and you get yourself a receiver who's solid or a running back who's solid. Now, you might have to take 85 cents on the dollar, right? But it still might be a good trade because Mason might be worthless in 2 weeks. What if Christian McCaffrey comes back? First of all, they're on bye this week. Then what if McCaffrey comes back and looks amazing? Now you're getting 40 cents in the dollar. So I'm not good at math, but I'll take my chances.
Cousins or Burrow? I don't know if anybody's playing better than Joe Burrow. I know they're not winning, but it ain't his fault.
It is not his fault at all. That's a really tremendous match. But once again, I go back to, are the Raiders going to push Cincinnati? Is Gardner Minshew going to throw to Myers and throw to Bowers and make some plays against this defense? Because if they can, then Joe Burrow is going to feast on the Raiders. But I know for a fact the Falcons are going to do a high-octane offense against the Cowboys. That's facts right there. So it's one thing. I don't think I want to bench Joe Burrow, but the game I want this week is the Falcons-Dallas.
Worthy or Downs, Doc?
I don't know if you can trust Worthy. I think the Bucs are a good situation for the Chiefs, but what about D-Hop? What about Kelsey? Where Downs may be legitimately the best receiver on the Colts, and the truth is Michael Pittman is not 100% healthy.
Cardinals have won 3 in a row, and the Rams are getting healthy. So do you go with Kyler Murray going forward or Matthew Stafford?
That's a really good question. I have to give the Cards a lot of credit. Did anybody think that they were going to come into Miami and win last week? I know I didn't.
No.
Yeah. And now playing the Bears are good defense. Bears are a really good defense. But Kyler seems to be doing just enough. However, Kyler, as we talked about before, fades with a pass rush. Miami gave him time. You give Kyler time, he'll carve you up. The Bears, though, they're going to swarm him. And when they swarm him, I don't like it. I like Stafford this week.
Another quarterback question is Flacco or Rodgers. I think you answered this earlier when you said tonight's Houston Jets game scares you.
Look, in my big money league, I have Rodgers and I have Jordan Love. And I cut Zamir White and I picked up Joe Flacco. And that's what I'm telling you. I want to play Jordan Love, and I'm going to give Jordan Love every opportunity to play. But if he can't play, I'm going to play Flacco in that game, because I just think that here's the other thing about why you bench Richardson. You think Richardson can solve a Brian Flores defense? There's no chance. Now, Joe Flacco will stay in the pocket. He'll figure it out. And look, the Vikings leave you big plays. If you can withstand the blitz, you can attack this defense. I think Flacco can.
All right, a trio of either or questions to wrap things up. Zay Flowers or Ladd McConkey?
That's a tough one. Give me Zay in a higher scoring game.
Jacobs or Hubbard?
Give me Jacobs because the Panthers stink.
And another week of Bryce Young because Dalton's thumb injury hasn't healed in time. Finally, flex, Kincaid or Waddle?
Ooh, you think Kincaid scores 2 weeks in a row? I don't. I think Waddle has to be there. I think he has to. They have to get him more involved. He's been almost like an afterthought all season. So I'll take a shot on him.
All right. He's Dr. Roto. DrRoto.com is the fantasy site, DrRoto.com. You follow him on X at Dr. Roto. Listen to him Saturday mornings if you can on the SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio. He does a tremendous job. Doc, thanks for making your weekly house call. Be well.
You too, guys. Happy holiday.
Go get a boo basket.
I'll tell you what, for as much as we love Doc, he is not a politically correct guy. There's no way he is subscribing to the boo basket theory. No way.
I doubt he knows what it is. I think we have informed a lot of our audience today of something that they should never buy. And there's a few of you out there that are going, I probably need to go get a boo basket today.
No! If you do it today, you're going to have to do it forever. Or at least for as long as you're in this relationship. But then think about it. What if you're in another one? What? A was worth it, but B wasn't? I mean, you'll be second-guessing yourself forever. Don't do it to yourself.
Say no to the boo.
Right. We got enough holidays coming up.
Damn right we do. Unbelievable.
I mean, we love our guys, Todd and Jason at the Diamond District. They don't need any more fake reasons to sell their stuff. They got enough real ones.
It's a dadgum good point. Almost inarguable, David. We've made up enough reasons to buy gifts for significant others. I did not know Halloween put us into that realm.
I'm willing to bet that neither Todd nor Jason are buying boo baskets. And if the jewelers aren't buying boo baskets, then you should sit it out as well.
There you have it. No truer words have ever been spoken on this show. Miller and Moulton. Miss any of the show, go to millerandmoulton.com. That's where you can download any portion of the show that you may have missed, like that great session with Dr. Roto right there. JP Shadrick to talk Jags. That's next in the Diamond District bonus hour right here on Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Gentlemen, as your wife mentioned getting new flooring, but you don't want to go through the hassle, well, go see the Floor Meisters in Naples next to Costco. They understand your time and money are important, so they'll make it as painless as possible. With a huge in-stock selection of carpet and Cortec, they can get you the floor your wife's been asking for. They carry wood, vinyl, carpet, and tile. If you do it yourself, no problem. They can handle that as well. So go see TJ at the Floor Meisters and tell them, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
The world-famous cigar bar started as a neighborhood place in downtown Fort Myers, and now it's a brand, a destination with 4 locations. The original place, Henry Street, Fort Myers, Gulf Coast Town Center, on Southeast 47th Terrace off the Cape Coral Parkway, and the Lounge on West 1st Street in Fort Myers. A place to go, whether you just need a relaxing drink and a smoke after a tough day at work, or a place to go celebrate. From relaxation to celebration, the world-famous cigar bar.
At Physical Therapy and Balance Centers, our goal is to help you love your life. When your life is sidelined by an injury, dizziness, surgery, or condition keeping you from doing what you love, we're here to help you heal and feel your best. Our therapist evaluation will determine the root cause of your health challenges, resulting in a unique treatment plan customized just for you. Visit www.physical.com to find your nearest location and see how we can help you love your life.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Morning, JP.
Hey, guys, what's happening?
Oh, just a Halloween show. JP, will probably ask you on air, but are you aware of what a boo basket is?
A boo basket?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
Found out yesterday talking to my son who has a girlfriend. He was out shopping for a boo basket. Apparently, you get your significant other a little Halloween basket full of treats, a candle, candies, etc. And I think it's the end of Western civilization as we know it.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, isn't that like you just get a gift? Like for we call that Wednesday, right? Or Thursday, whatever day this is. I don't know.
Well, also, I don't think Halloween is a worthy enough occasion for having to go Hallmark shopping.
If you're 10 years old, sure.
Yes.
But isn't the holiday enough of a gift? That's what I don't understand. You get to get dressed up. You get candy, for goodness sakes. You get to spend 1 or 2 days trick-or-treating and smashing pumpkins and, doing all sorts of stuff that you don't get to do. Isn't that enough?
Yeah, where's the line? Like, where,
right.
Is this are we going to keep building this into something it's not? I mean, it's a Hallmark holiday.
Are we going to have turkey baskets in 4 weeks? What are we doing?
Here's a baster, honey.
Right.
Here's a thermometer and a baster. Get to work.
Whatever you do with it is up to you, but there it is.
Our Bucs guy said, our guy covering the Bucs said he's willing to play along and do it if it's reciprocal, and every year from his wife he gets a putter.
See, now we're talking. Yeah. A new Scotty Cameron every year.
There you go.
Right. Of course, in theory, shouldn't you just bought one like 20, 30 years ago and that's enough? I mean,
I don't know, man. I'm one of those, I'm a Grinch Halloween guy. Like, the lights off at the house today when I left.
Oh!
And I won't be back because I'm off work at 6:15, and I haven't had time to go get candy.
and I don't have enough canned goods to give out. Like, what am I going to do? Like, sit there and so I'm going to go after work somewhere else and do some more work, and then go home at like 9:30.
So you're just going to avoid the whole thing.
Yeah. I think because one year I had like 6 trick-or-treaters, and I had 2 bags of candy for like weeks. And
right, that's part of the fun of the holiday. Okay, you actually count on that. You're hoping actually to become less and less of a popular place.
Yeah,
that's why you buy the candy that you really want for yourself, because you're going to end up eating it.
If I want candy, I'll just go buy the damn candy, Dave. I don't need a reason. I don't need a holiday for that. It's in the checkout line. Every time I go to Publix where shopping's a pleasure, it's right there. I just buy a Crunch Bar, a big one.
Yeah, a big ass one.
The mini ones are great, but the big ones are even better.
Very quickly, because we're coming up on it, we had David Garrard on 15 years ago, and he had just been named the starting quarterback. And Mark asked him, he goes, how much pressure is there on you for Halloween now that you're the starting quarterback? He said, we had to go out and buy all the big candy bars.
Right. Yeah, because that's the house.
Yep.
Hey, I'm sure Trevor feels the same way.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And just like that, it's the Diamond District bonus hour on this Thursday, the final one of October. That makes it Halloween. Happy Halloween. Trick or treat. You wearing a costume today? What's the candy you're giving out? Are you giving out something other than chocolate? We're curious about those things. 21,000 on the text line, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. Let us know in the chat room. Joining us now on the American Paint Supplies hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs, JP Shadrick. He's part of the Jags Radio Network. He does college football on Touchdown Radio Network, college and pro football for Westwood One. You can follow him on X at JP Shadrick, Shadrick. Happy Halloween there, buddy.
Yes, happy Halloween to you guys as well. Are you guys dressed up right now, or is this just your normal, I didn't know. We're on the Zoom, we're on the thing. Like, I don't know if people can, if you're listening, you can't tell. I can't tell if this is a costume or is real life.
Mark, do we think JP is old enough to know the reference of the shirt you are wearing?
Ooh. That's a great question. I don't know if he is aware of Carver.
I don't think he is.
You're a young man, JP. You're
right.
not even.
Are you aware of the Carver High T-shirt?
Is that the Hoosiers thing? Is that the Hoosiers deal?
It would be a show called The White Shadow. Late 70s into about 1980. Ken Howard was the high school basketball coach of the inner city LA school.
I'm a child of the 80s, okay? You old guys.
We are.
So I don't know. That's before my time, I must say.
Look it up. Okay, Ken Howard. Mark going as a high school basketball coach today by wearing that shirt.
Very
All
nice.
right, JP. On the surprise scale of 1 to 10, the fact that the Jags traded away their starting left tackle, where was it for you?
-5. I mean, honestly, it's kind of where they were. I think going into the season, Cam Robinson was on a little bit of a short rope, if you will. I think a little bit of the way he had gone about his business in there's a lot going on. The guy's been around the league for a long time. He's been a good player, but he had a new baby in the offseason, was going back and forth to Texas a lot. I think there was a lot of that in the organization. Like, is this guy really into it as much still? I think he can be. He can turn it on when he really needs to. But there were some moments where he just didn't play that well this season. And then he had the concussion in London and came out of the protocol and was cleared to play last week and then was benched because they need to see what Walker Little has the rest of the way. And it's right before the trade deadline. And there you go. So they got something for him 2 drafts from now and got him out the door. And now they'll have a chance to look at Walker Little the rest of the way because it's the last year of Walker Little's deal. They've got to figure out as an organization that Cam Robinson wasn't coming back next year anyway. Like it was the last year of his deal. He was making $16 million a year. That wasn't going to be the case. So he was already going to be out the door. Why not get a look at the other guy you've drafted and see what happens there, and then figure out, okay, is Anton Harrison going to flip next year to left tackle? Do we have to get a right tackle? Like there's all that in play. So it didn't surprise me at all.
How many more moves are the Jags going to make? I mean, the phone's obviously ringing. Do you see that's being one of many, or is this just not necessarily a one-off, but they'll be a little more diligent with any other moves they make?
Yeah, I think that was really the one. I think they already traded Roy Robertson-Harris earlier in the year, which was a big contract and a veteran player. All right, move along, get something for him. This was the next one. There were all the reports that maybe Christian Kirk was on the block, but he's got the collarbone fracture now, so he's done. So I wouldn't see that. There may not be many more. I mean, we'll see how this game goes this week too. I mean, the deadline is Tuesday afternoon. So if for some reason the Jags are, we'll see. I just don't foresee. There's nobody really on deck for me in that department right now, that off the top of my head, that they could get rid of.
Was last week's game the first game that you remember in which the Jags media and fan base blamed Trevor Lawrence for losing a game? Because I've only been in Jacksonville for 2 years now. For me, it seemed like Sunday's game was the first game that the fan base said, yeah, we know he played 2 terrific quarters and the comeback and what have you, but he had 2 turnovers to give away 2 touchdowns. He's the reason we lost. I don't remember, it's one thing for a Yahoo like me to say it, JP. It's another thing for the fan base to say it. I sensed for the first time the fan base said, I'll be damned, he just cost us a game.
There was a game 2 years ago in Philadelphia when it was pouring rain, and he fumbled the ball 4 times and lost them all. And there's that's another one that, and he would be the first to tell you that he lost that game as well, right? I mean, that's one that stands out to me. I mean, the turnovers last week were awful. I don't know who he was throwing to on the pass down the field. And then the fumble, you're holding it like a loaf of bread, rolling left, throw the thing away, hit the popcorn vendor. Take the sack. Like, put it up against your body and fall on the football. Like, that's fine. He can punt and get out of there. And he said all these things after the fact. So he's had a fumbling issue over his career, and he's had a turnover issue. He leads the league in turnovers since he's joined the league. So, I mean, that's a real issue. He's been better at it this year. He's protected the ball, but is he as dynamic when he's conservative, not throwing it down the field? He's got to push it sometimes, and he can be really good when he pushes it. As you saw, hey, when they were up against it in the final drive, you got to throw it. You're hitting guys. It's simplified. So there's a balance there. But I think people are probably a little too harsh on last week, because he did rally them back without the top 3 receivers on the field and running 2 tight end personnel the last quarter of the game. I mean, they had backups out there, and he found a way to get him down the field twice, down 10 in the 4th quarter to tie it. He did his part when he had to at the end. So I give him credit for that.
I understand giving him credit, but there's a consistency issue that they're looking for. And I don't know if you can teach consistency. I don't know. I mean, if you want him to be a gunslinger, this is what you're going to have to take with it, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, who played with a gunslinger like that? The head coach, Doug Peterson, was the backup for Brett Favre, who was the ultimate gunslinger. I mean, the all-time leader in picks and touchdowns. He had both. Well, you're going to get some of that. I think it's just part of the deal. I don't think that bothers Doug Peterson as much. I think what probably he'd like a little more of is some fire out of the quarterback. Like, that's just kind of what he expects, because I think Brett had that too, right? It's just a different animal. So I don't think he minds calculated risk down the field for the head coach. And I think you're going to see some of that. But let's be honest. Last 4 games, Trevor's statistically played better and played really well. And I think that's a step in the right direction for him. It's been there were a couple of stretches there where it's been some of his best play in the last couple of years.
You know, the last 2 years, the Jags have had winning seasons. And the thought was that, you know, we're entering a new era with this team. Don't know if it's going to win a Super Bowl, contend for a Super Bowl, but we're going to consistently be at least pretty good. Well, now we're 2-6, and we got a 3-game stretch here in which I want to see I get this right.
I got it for you. Yeah, I got
we got
it.
Philly,
Vikings,
Detroit, and the Texans. I mean, you know, if we don't do something dramatic here, we're going to start looking like, you know, 10 of the last 12 Jags teams, if you know what I mean. And that's, you know, isn't it fair to say that this organization thought they weren't going to revisit those days for quite a while?
Yeah, it's kind of a head scratcher, right? And they've lost a bunch of games by 5 points or less this year. They've been in some games, they've had leads in games, and you got pre-snap penalty things going on and mental errors, and the pass defense can't cover anybody. Seems like sometimes, especially in the big moment last week, they were fine and then they weren't. And it takes that one time where you're not in a key moment to lose a game for you. So, yeah, the stretch coming up. Eagles this week, Vikings at home next week. Cam Robinson comes back to face the Jags next week, by the way. And then you go to Detroit after that, then the bye week, then the Texans. I mean, this is where the rubber will hit the road. They've got to steal some wins here somehow and figure out a way. And they're good enough to do it. Can they finish it? Can they finish a full, complete game without all these mental errors and giveaways? Well, we haven't found out yet. Maybe we'll find out in the next few weeks.
What do you blame the mental errors and giveaways on? Is there a cause? I mean, do you point at Peterson? Do you point at the players? Is there a finger to point, or is it just a little bit of everything?
Doug Peterson talks about it all the time, and I'm kind of with him. He didn't jump offside. He didn't say that. I'm saying that for him. But, like, you can only – what are you supposed to do? Like, put it on the screen, hey, don't jump offside. Hey, is seven-year-old peewee football, one of the first rules, hey, don't jump offside. Like, what else can you tell them? At some point, players have to go out there and not false start and not run illegal motion inside the 10-yard line. And, you know, that they have to go execute it. So, and when there's all these changes and new players out on the field, we'll see how that goes. Like, there's got to be focus throughout. And it's the small things like that that'll hurt this team. And the coaches can only go so far. As we say every week, they can only go up to the white line. They can't go on the green grass. So the players have to go not false start and do these things.
As an Alabama alum, I'll ask you a question, hoping for objectivity, but knowing that's, you know, not going to happen.
Yeah, whatever.
A week from now, if Alabama beats LSU, are they a playoff team or do they need help?
I mean, they only have 2 losses still, right?
Uh-huh.
And then there's still a lot of football left, right?
In theory, if they beat LSU, they're going 10-2.
You think?
Yeah.
I don't trust that team as far as I can throw them.
Okay.
There might be another loss in there somewhere.
All right.
I mean, I'm not. Hey,
okay.
I don't know. It's a weird year down there.
Yeah, it's a weird year where you are, and it's a weird year there. That's for sure.
Trust me, I know weird years. Okay, I'm the king of weird years. Don't tell me about weird years. Okay, I'll tell you about weird years.
Yes, you will, sir. JP Shadrick, Touchdown Radio Network, college football, college and pro football for Westwood One. 10 seconds.
Ohio State, Penn State, noon Saturday, Touchdown Radio.
Damn, that's a pretty good one. Good luck. Have safe travels. Have a great call. Also part of the Jags Radio Network. Follow him on X at JP Shadrick, Shadrick. The world-famous cigar bar started as a neighborhood place in downtown Fort Myers, and now it's a brand, a destination, with 4 locations. The original place, Henry Street, Fort Myers, Gulf Coast Town Center, on Southeast 47th Terrace off the Cape Coral Parkway, and the Lounge on West 1st Street in Fort Myers. A place to go, whether you just need a relaxing drink and a smoke after a tough day at work, or a place to go celebrate. From relaxation to celebration, the world-famous cigar bar.
At Physical Therapy and Balance Centers, Our goal is to help you love your life. When your life is sidelined by an injury, dizziness, surgery, or condition keeping you from doing what you love, we're here to help you heal and feel your best. Our therapist evaluation will determine the root cause of your health challenges, resulting in a unique treatment plan customized just for you. Visit www.physical.com to find your nearest location and see how we can help you love your life.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Gentlemen, as your wife mentioned getting new flooring, but you don't want to go through the hassle, well, go see the Floor Meisters in Naples next to Costco. They understand your time and money are important, so they'll make it as painless as possible. With a huge in-stock selection of carpet and Cortec, they can get you the floor your wife's been asking for. They carry wood, vinyl, carpet, and tile. If you do it yourself, no problem. They can handle that as well. So go see TJ at the Floor Meisters and tell them, just keeping it real.
This is Miller and Moulton.
My daughter, and I didn't think her stock would go up today, but it just did. So I had texted my daughter, "Do you know what a boo basket is?" She said, "Yes. Did you get one?" I, of course, replied, what I replied. Right. Then I said, "Did you ever give or receive one?" She said, "No way. I'm going to be a boomer on this one and say these traditions are getting out of hand."
Her stock went up with me.
I just texted her back and said, "Somehow your inheritance just went up."
Even though you're the only child.
Right. And you're getting everything. She's going to get a lot, too. It's going to work out perfectly for her. My mom's going to hand me a nice little nest egg, but, we combine that nest egg with, the two of us here. If we don't run it into the ground, daughter's, My daughter may actually like plot to get rid of her parents. She's going to do so well. Could tell my wife's watched way too many Datelines. Swear to God, all she does is watch shows about spouses plotting to kill each other. Golly. Ah. And Auburn's not going to beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa. I mean, Auburn, Cam's the only win they've had there in 20 years, really.
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Oh, what a show today. What a show. I'd like to thank JP Shadrick for completing our guest list on the American Paint Supplies Hotline, your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. Between Max Baker, The Athletic, Roy Cummings, Dr. Roto, JP Shadrick, another busy Thursday. Happens to be the final Thursday of October, so it's Halloween. Happy Halloween. A lot of controversy associated with Halloween. My goodness.
I didn't know. I had a feeling once I heard about the Boo Basket when I brought it up, it would end up going in the direction that it is. Got this text. Boo Basket my ass. That's what Valentine's is for.
There we go.
And I'm with that person wholeheartedly.
So if you don't know and you're like, what are they talking about? Apparently, what, Gen Z now? Is that where we're at now?
Yep, those rat bastards.
The Gen Zers have come up with if you're dating someone, or you just you got to get them a little boo basket, boo Halloween boo basket, a little, maybe a scented candle, I don't know, some socks. Most of the country it's the fall. If you want to actually, like, I don't know, buy a blanket of some kind or a scarf, just a little boo basket, a little the potpourri, maybe throw in a little gifts.
Ooh, a potpourri basket. So some boo with your poo.
Right. Listen, nothing wrong with potpourri. In fact, if they had called it a potpourri basket, they might have won me over. I'm all for things smelling good. I am.
Which is ironic because you can't smell a damn thing.
Not a damn thing. So if I can smell it, either direction, think about what an accomplishment that is. All right. My wife bought something. I walk into the bathroom now. I'm like, ooh, it's like new car smell. And I'm like, I'll be damned, I can smell this. I haven't smelled anything in here in 20 years. Wow. Okay. So, yeah, it's whatever it is, honey, it's working. You're still not getting a boo basket, though. I mean, I love you. Take a bullet for you, but no, I'm not going there. No. My daughter, by the way, and this all started because Mark talked to his son yesterday, who's in his mid-20s, and he said, yeah, I'm out shopping for a boo basket.
And it didn't give it up early either. I mean, we were 5-8 minutes into the conversation. I'm at Target picking up some stuff. And first off, I was a little taken aback. Like, what the hell are you doing at Target?
Well, and then didn't he try to cover it up by saying stuff for around the house?
Yeah. I said, what are you buying, by the way?
Yeah.
Because he's talking really quiet. I says, what are you buying? He goes, I've got to get a boo basket. Like, what the hell is a boo basket?
Thank you. So, and I'm glad you were able to snuff that out, by the way. Quite the good detective you are. You still got it. You still got it. So I text the daughter, who's only a couple years older than Mark's son, and I said, hey, do you know what a boo basket is? And she said, yes, I do. Did you get one? That's funny.
That is funny.
Yeah. Okay. And I said back to her, if I got your mother a boo basket, she'd think I was having an affair. Because I would think the same thing in reverse. So I asked her the important question. I mean, I interview people for a living sometimes. I should be able to get right to the heart of the matter. Did you ever give or receive a boo basket? And she said, no way. And I'm going to be a boomer on this one. I say these traditions are getting out of hand. Well, I just gave her more of my money.
I might give her some of mine.
I'm going to work a little longer than I had planned on working just so that she can get a little bit more.
And she deserves it.
Wow.
I'm going to be a boomer on this one. At least she just passed up Gen X and went right to the boomers. So that's good for her.
Exactly. Well, I mean, she's, getting closer to us here. She's, I miss being a boomer by a year. I think boomer ends if you're born in 64. And I was born in 65. I just miss that.
You're a boomer at heart, though.
I'm definitely a boomer. Oh, my goodness. I'm an old soul to begin with. Oh, yeah. I'm definitely a boomer.
Very depressed that the baseball season's over.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I'm distraught today. I'm not even a Yankees fan. Okay?
I know a few Yankee fans. They're going to be honked off. They're going to go from sad to PO'd today, I think.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because deep down, they're like those two fans that were ripping Mookie Betts' arm off. Okay, yeah. So yeah, they want somebody fired, want somebody cut, and they know it's not like he can be judged. I mean, they're stuck with him, even though he helped cost them the World Series. He did. There's no other way to say it. He did. He helped cost them the World Series. He didn't hit in the clutch. And then the one game he comes up with a clutch hit, he makes an even bigger error.
2 errors and a mental error in 1 inning.
In 1 inning.
Giving a team 6 outs.
6.
The Dodgers.
Honestly, when's the last time, those of us that have watched a lot of baseball, when's the last time you remember a team giving another team 6 outs in an inning? Not
and
5.
I'm not talking the Little League World Series. We're
Right.
talking actual baseball.
Yeah, we'll even add in Williamsport. When's the last time you saw a team in Williamsport, a bunch of 11 and 12-year-olds, give a team 6 outs in an inning? Not a game, an inning. Unbelievable.
That was the text I got during it last night from my buddy who loves baseball. It says, Yankees looking like a Little League team playing defense to letting the Dodgers back in it. I think that's a disservice to Little League teams.
I was hoping that's what you text him back. Say, hey, I watch a lot of Williamsport. Used to watch it with my dad, too. How dare you speak of Toms River, New Jersey like that?
It's staggering to me. And I'm with you. I'm not a Yankees fan. I wanted the Dodgers. I don't even have a soft spot for them. I like watching them play because the lineup was so damn good this year. It was fun to watch at times.
And by the way, did Judge and the Yankees get Ohtani off the hook? Oof. That was not a good World Series. Remember, he doesn't even play the field. I mean, so if he ain't hitting, he ain't doing squat. And he didn't do squat really this whole series.
Nope.
Like 2 hits and 2 walks. That's it. But they won. Oh, and he got hurt. Okay. Okay.
Well, he did get hurt.
He did. He did it to
I
himself.
know, but you
by
put
the
it
way.
in a voice like you're questioning
I know,
whether
but he
or not
did it to himself. Who damn near breaks their shoulder sliding? He was untouched. I mean, he did it to himself. He had such a bad World Series. He's never slid like that in his life. I mean, he's like sliding with the parking brake on. I mean,
It's fun to do in the snow.
Yes, I'm with you.
I'm just saying.
Right.
In an open parking lot and a parking brake, I can have a little bit of fun. Especially when it's the old school car that the parking brake was between the seats. not to your low left on the floor.
Right.
Get me in
Thursday
that-
night football tonight,
The Jets are favored.
oh man, I hate the fact we even have to talk about the Jets. They're the Giants, the Dolphins, the Jets, the Jags. There are teams, quite frankly, that I would love to be done talking about them.
And you know what's going to happen. Like, the Jets will probably end up winning just so they have to be talked about a little bit more. I don't see how they win. But 2 top receivers for Houston out. Houston's going to have to figure out a way to run the ball. Everybody's been able to run the ball against the Jets. Low scoring prediction, 42.5 is the over-under.
I will say this. If they can get tonight, Arizona, Indy, Seattle, Dolphins, Jags, Rams. I mean, a couple of 4-4 teams, a 3-4 team. Not a winning team on the schedule for a month and a half after tonight. Just saying. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts. It's all coming up. Happy Halloween, Miller and Moulton.
Department is growing. They are currently looking for police officers and are offering a $10,000 signing bonus to newly hired officers. If you desire a career in law enforcement, or if you are already in law enforcement and thinking about making a move to a better agency, think Cape Coral Police Department. If you're looking for a police department that is committed to excellence, that invests in the highest level of training, state-of-the-art equipment, and some of the highest compensation in all of Southwest Florida, then the Cape Coral Police Department is for you. Visit capecops.com. That's capecops.com.
Wine glasses never fall over until you get a brand new rug.
Oh no!
Ketchup bottles act normal till you're wearing a new shirt.
Oh, you kidding me?
And rocks slide peacefully on the road till the day you get a brand new windshield. Then they fly up off the road and attack without mercy. That's why new windshields from Glass Doctor come with our windshield protection plan. Unlimited repairs and 1 replacement for 12 months. Don't just fix it, protect it. Glass Doctor. A neighborly company.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. Sleep problem but don't want to wear a CPAP mask? This is Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. The mask wasn't working for me, and I didn't think I had an alternative. I do. We all do. They have such simple alternatives with greater success than the mask. Visit sleeptreatmentdirect.com. That's sleeptreatmentdirect.com. And if you are like me and your CPAP machine isn't working for you, it's time for a change. Call 239-444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, Dead Struck, please do it and mention us. That'd be great. EB, I don't think so. Because I got to admit, it's not easy being a Yankee, 6 months out of the year. But I think he just has a big swing. And in the playoffs, you face the best pitching. And they force you to, hit your weaknesses. I do think, though, that I do think my analysis was right yesterday that Roberts not shutting the Yankees down there in the 8th in Game 4, I thought, gave them the confidence that they started Game 5 the way they did. I mean, all of them were raking Flaherty. God, it would have been so fascinating if the Yankees had won last night. For him to have a bullpen game and then have to have 7 2/3 innings from a bullpen, one travel day, come back in Game 6.
Right.
This series, we would have
A lot of heat on the pitching staff then.
Yep. This series would have been the game on.
I mean, the you've got to be angry today if you're a Yankee fan.
Oh, there's no doubt. You lost both games that Cole pitched. Cole gave up 1 earned run in this series. Cole pitched 12 2/3 innings, gave up 1 earned run. You lost both games.
But unfortunately, part of it's on him. He doesn't cover first.
I know, but in fairness, and yes, I blame him more than Rizzo. The people blaming Rizzo today, I don't get. He's a first baseman. His job is to field the ball. It's Cole's job to cover the bag. But, they lost both games Cole pitched. And Cole's mental mistake was after 5 outs.
5 outs, right. No, I know. It's crazy.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. 16 minutes until we're done with the Diamond District bonus hour. Here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Football Friday tomorrow. Lee Sterling with his picks. Pat Kerwin breaking down all the games. Miller and Moulton with our picks.
I'm bringing all the extra candy to the show. I'm just going to eat candy during the show tomorrow.
Oh, that'll be awesome. See, I don't get jealous when you eat. In fact,
I know you can walk to the kitchen and get something.
Right. It'll just make me eat more. I'm like, oh, I'm getting egged on here. I feel like I'm getting challenged. So I'll love it.
All the names. Challenge the Chiefs.
Hey, one thing before you do your thing. So did you notice, and did it bother you, and I don't just mean you, I mean everyone listening, the games got long again, the baseball games, for those that watch the World Series. Especially the games at Yankee Stadium. A lot of pitching changes. All right. And even though I don't know, was there one pitcher or hitter clock violation? I don't know that there was, but they worked the clock as long as they could. It's like a football team snapping it constantly with less than 5 seconds. And with all the pitching changes And the games, even though the series was Dodgers in 5, the games were close enough where there was it was drama largely throughout, except for the one game.
It didn't bother me because what were they, David? They were games of consequence.
Okay.
It wasn't a Tuesday in June when I don't need to see 4 hours of baseball. So when it comes down to games of consequence, games that matter, I think we can handle a little longer baseball game. Because as fans, and I know you do it, David, you're into every decision that's made.
I am, but I'm a goober though. I mean I am. I'm a geek when it comes to this stuff. I'm geeked out. I love it. I love it all. I love it. I mean the missed 2-1 pitch by the umpire is a huge play in my mind. Okay, yes, I'm into all of it. But like game 1, 10 innings, 3.5 hours was game 1. For one extra inning. Normal game this year has been 235. Now the normal playoff game was closer to 3 hours. Last night's game ended at like 7 minutes to midnight. I mean, that's a 345 plus 9-inning game.
I would like them to be a little bit quicker, but because they're games of consequence, I can handle it.
Okay.
And we know what's on the line for each team and the managers, etc.
Just wondering, if you're used to watching baseball, it was clearly a slower tempo than what we've gotten used to the last 2 years. I'm curious if A, you noticed it, and B, if it bothered you, or like you, Mark, you said, yeah, it's slower, but it's the World Series. I'm okay.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
Happy birthday, Nevada. Today in 1864, Nevada admitted as the 36th state of the Union. Isn't it kind of appropriate that Nevada was admitted on Halloween?
Absolutely. Yes.
The Mount Rushmore Monument was completed in South Dakota today in 1941. The Big Cat, Earl Lloyd, becomes the first African-American to play a game in the NBA, scoring 6 in his debut for the Washington Capitals today in 1950. Venus Williams makes her professional debut today in 1994 as a 14-year-old. She would win in straight sets. Bethany Hamilton, the surfer, it was today in 2003 that her arm was bitten off by a shark while surfing. She would still go on to be a champion surfer.
Did you see the story this week of, he's just a guy, I don't think he's a professional surfer, but he surfs. Bitten by a shark for the second time.
I'd quit after the first one.
The odds apparently of being bitten by a shark are 1 in 3 million. So what are the odds of being bitten twice in a lifetime?
Today in 2008, basically the Bitcoin was created.
Has anybody bought anything with it?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. That's what I wanted to know. Now I'm ready.
Way to jump on board, David.
Yep, you know me.
I remember when they did, because they changed the bowl name every year in Tampa. The Gasparilla Bowl was the Bitcoin Bowl one year.
Yep.
And we mocked it openly. If we had taken one paycheck and put it into Bitcoin that day, neither of us would be working today, David.
No, we would not.
The Walking Dead premiered today in 2010. And Taylor Swift becomes the first artist in history to claim all 10 spots on the Hot 100 chart. All tracks coming from her album Midnight today in 2022. Michael Landon, Brian Piccolo, John Candy would have all celebrated birthdays today. Dan Rather is 93. Nick Saban is 73. The Crime Dog, Fred McGriff, is 61. And Vanilla Ice is 57. What did I miss, David?
Ice, ice, baby. All right, this is a little deep, and it's going back over 500 years. But Martin Luther posts the 95 Thesis today in 1517. You know, when he nailed the piece of paper with the 95, revolutionary opinions which basically became the Protestant church, basically. He slammed the Catholics, and he wasn't the first nor the last. Okay. And then, anyway, so, the whole Protestant Revolution church thing basically began 507 years ago today. I thought that was worth mentioning. Did you go River Phoenix?
I did not.
He died today in 93. In 84, Indira Gandhi was assassinated. So you know me. See, you're the positive guy when it comes to, the whole this day in history. I always get the deaths.
I leave them for you.
You do.
You do them well.
Houdini died today in 26 also.
From a sucker punch.
Right.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
For the good, we go to Des Moines, Iowa, where the first time since 1938, children in Des Moines will go trick-or-treating on Halloween. 7 decades ago, Des Moines took a stand on hooliganism on Halloween. Instead, Des Moines children don their costumes on Beggar's Night, the day before Halloween, and besides screaming trick or treat, children are expected to tell a joke before receiving a treat.
What?
Yeah. But Beggar's Night, there was heavy rain expected and thunderstorms, so officials delayed trick-or-treating today, which is the normal Halloween.
Wait, I thought kids had to be cute, not funny.
Not in Des Moines. They're
wow.
Something out of you.
That's a tough town.
For the bad, we go to the Orlando Executive Airport where some private planes had to be delayed taking off because an alligator wandered onto the tarmac. About a 10-foot gator. An airport employee shoos the reptile further away from airport traffic. They didn't even bother with FWC. One of the guys just get out of here.
If you were that employee now, and listen, I did some crazy things when I was in local TV news. Crazy things, some stupid things. I followed the cops into an armed robbery, okay, with a camera. Okay. Oh, yeah. 2. I actually did it twice. Did it once in Fargo, once in Scranton. Oh, yeah. Cops went running in. They couldn't stop me. I showed up when they did. I got in the back of them, ran in behind them. I'm in the convenience store with an armed robber, and I'm shooting the video. I'm dumb. What can I tell you?
That's moronic.
Idiot. It's stupid. Okay. Did the same thing in Fargo. Guy showed up at a bingo
What
place.
did your boss say?
What, are you kidding me? Great job. Okay, we're going to run that video. That's our lead story. I mean,
did you get one of those, Edward R. Murrow awards for this or something? Did you get anything for it?
No, I got yelled at the one time.
I would hope so.
You took the van? Both of them were at like 1 a.m. They're like, what were you doing here at 1 a.m. listening to the scanner? And so I told both news directors, I was making resume tapes. Heard the armed robbery, it was nearby, got in the car, figured I'd shoot it. Can't get mad at me looking for another job. I just got your lead story on the local news in the morning. Come on now.
For the ugly, we go to Montana, where a Montana woman getting ready for work went out to her pickup and discovered it had been torn apart inside and out by a black bear. It was at 3:30 in the morning. She woke up to the sound of her dogs barking at something outside her home. When she got up for work a few hours later, went outside to discover her pickup truck was ransacked by a black bear. Fortunately, the bear didn't go anywhere near the home or her. It just tore up the truck. And that's the good, the bad, and the ugly. On Halloween, the good, the bad, and the ugly brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. Still that sign-on bonus, $10,000 for new police officers. Go to capecops.com. That's capecops.com.
4 NBA games tonight. If NBA TV is national television to you, then we have a doubleheader. If not, nothing. Milwaukee, Memphis, Phoenix and the Clippers, 8 and 10:30 on NBA TV. I will say Wemby and the Spurs are off to a slow start. They're 1 and 3. He had like 8 points the other night in a game. I mean, he's gotten off to a slow start. The Spurs are playing the Jazz. Jazz, the last winless team in the league tonight. NHL, bunch of games on a Thursday. Like, I don't know, 7 of them. None of the locals are playing. But, and none of them are nationally televised either. So you got that going for you, which is nice. I mean, the best
Jets
games.
and Texans. That's what we got.
Yeah, I mean, you really do. I mean, Texans at the Jets. Jets a 2-point favorite despite losing 5 in a row. Houston being 6 and 2. Are you going to buy into the Vegas is smarter than us and the Thursday night football? This is about the time of the year where it's really difficult. We saw it when Minnesota going to the Rams a couple of weeks ago. That, you know what? You go on the road on a Thursday night this time of year, you're undermanned, you lose.
If I were to bet a Thursday night game tonight, David, I'd bet the college game and lay the 14.5 with Tulane before I'd even get involved in the NFL game. It scares the hell out of me. I would bet Houston. If you pinned me down and had to make a play, I would play Houston, but I feel like I'm getting set up tonight.
And that's why I would bet the Jets, because I do feel like this is ridiculous. How is a 2-16 favorite over a 6-2 team? How? How is that possible? We've all seen the Jets just lost to the Patriots. How in the world are they favored over the Texans? I'm going to say, listen, they're smarter than me. I'm just going to close my eyes, shut up and bet. That's kind of where I am. So we'll see who wins. And you mentioned the one college game tonight, 7:30, 4-letter network. Tulane may be 6 and 2 overall, but they are unbeaten in the American. They, Army, and Navy are the 3 unbeatens in the AAC. Tulane plays Navy later in the year.
Tulane's 2 losses, by the way, are to Kansas State and Oklahoma.
14.5-point favorite on the road.
Charlotte's not very good.
No,
I like
3 and
Tulane
5
tonight.
Okay. All right.
That's the bet I'd make. Last night, I liked the Lightning that came through for me. Tonight, I'll take Tulane. As we get ready for a football Friday. Pat Kerwin, Lee Sterling on the show tomorrow. Lee will give us his picks. David, I don't know how many he's going to have, but for the first time, I've already got 2 of my 5 picks done, and we haven't even finished the show today.
Wow. That's a first for this year.
Maybe a first forever.
Missed any part of the show? Matt Baker joined us in our 7 o'clock hour. Roy Cummings, Dr. Roto in our 8 o'clock hour. And we began this hour with JP Shadrick. We didn't even get to him calling Ohio State, Penn State.
Probably should have spent more time on that.
Yeah, probably. I mean, instead we talked about the 2-6 Jags. That was a bad move by us. But so you miss any part of the show, go to millerandmoulton.com and download what you missed. There you go. Hey, have fun trick-or-treating. Be safe. And there's going to be a lot of extra people out there tonight. So just be on the lookout for them. Have a great night. We'll talk again tomorrow on a Football Friday.
At Physical Therapy and Balance Centers, our goal is to help you love your life. When your life is sidelined by an injury, dizziness, surgery, or condition keeping you from doing what you love, we're here to help you heal and feel your best. Our therapist evaluation will determine the root cause of your health challenges, resulting in a unique treatment plan customized just for you. Visit www.physical.com to find your nearest location and see how we can help you love your life.
Honey, you want to come out? I haven't seen you since Glass Doctor installed our custom shower enclosure.
No thanks.
Well, you can't keep eating breakfast in the shower, and laminating your magazines is getting expensive. You remember we have guests coming over tonight, right?
Oh, I'm sure they'd love to see the shower.
It's our neighbors, and I highly doubt they want to be hanging out in our bathroom.
The shower's so good, you'll never want to leave. Visit glassdoctor.com today and schedule an appointment online.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
A natural diamond is the oldest artifact you will ever touch, and each is one of a kind. Jason and Todd at the Diamond District would like to meet you personally and share their love of natural diamonds and the positive impact of purchasing a natural diamond. We promise that in our vault sits the largest selection of GIA certified natural diamonds at the most competitive prices in the world. Jason and Todd look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to their Diamond District family.
Gentlemen, as your wife mentioned getting new flooring, but you don't want to go through the hassle, well, go see the Floor Meisters in Naples next to Costco. They understand your time and money are important, so they'll make it as painless as possible. With a huge in-stock selection of carpet and Cortec, they can get you the floor your wife's been asking for. They carry wood, vinyl, carpet, and tile. If you do it yourself, no problem. They can handle that as well. So go see TJ at the Floor Meisters and tell them, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Molly Maid. Why Molly Maid, you ask? Trust. Moulton was a customer for 15 years. Affordability. Didn't I just say Moulton was a customer for 15 years? Worry-free services. Our professional house cleaners are fully insured and a 24-hour warranty. Call Molly Maids today at 239-774-5839. That's 239-774-5839 or online at mollymaid.com/FTMYERS. That's mollymaid.com/FTMYERS.
This is Miller and Moulton.